All right, check, check, check. Hello, hello. All right, figuring out Zoom here. Give me a second. If you guys can hear me, give me a yes in the chat, please. We're gonna start our live stream here, and we got about 4 hours of great interviews and lots of education, lots of people that are gonna share their stories from our group. That it's gonna be epic. So love it, love it, love it. Appreciate it, everyone. You guys are quick here to respond. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So cool. Let me share my screen and I'll get going. We're going to bring on our first guest in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Cool. All right, here we are. So what I want to do today is kind of celebrate market moves, where we've come from, where we're at today. I mean, at this point, we've developed out a system, we've developed out a family. We have a lot of great stories to share, and we're just really proud. This is a milestone for the system, the company, and we just want to celebrate this. So 1 year of no losing wheel trades. What that means is when we're selling puts, we have a 90% chance of success. But in certain pullbacks, certain markets, I mean, you can get wrecked put selling. So we've been able to avoid a lot of that from owning the stock, getting the shares assigned, doing covered calls, all of that. The point is, there's no system probably on the internet that can hit a win streak this long and help hundreds of traders kind of replicate it without the stress and the struggle and the learning curve. Because at the end of the day, we're just selling puts on 4 or 5 tickers when the markets drop. And we want to keep it literally that boring and that simple because that's a system that can be replicated through decades, through hundreds of different people, busy lives, all that stuff. So this isn't like anything else on the internet because of that. So we are going to be sharing these 5 stories today. These 5 people are going to be popping on here and talking about their experience, what they've achieved, how they've achieved it. And instead of teaching you the system today, we're going to show you people that were successful from it. And they're going to teach you how they use the system. So the one important thing I've realized from doing seminars and doing live streams is you can teach this, and this. But the most meaningful thing people pick up at the end of the day are transformations and real stories, something they can attach themselves to that gives them motivation that they can do it too. So Renuka is going to be first up. She was my first one-on-one student, and she's the first millionaire student. And then her friend joined, I think a month later, same deal, first set of one-on-one students, it's 2 millionaire students. And then I think my third student was also a millionaire. So we hit it out of the park in the beginning of market moves, creating the one-on-one approach for kind of dialing in those students. And the success rate of the one-on-one program was insane right away. So that was a really cool product we've been kind of making over the last couple years. Adam's up, I think, in the middle. He's going to share at like 2 p.m. Adam is nuts. And I don't know too much about his story, but he had a $2 million week, a $2.6 million week. I'm not sure how much he can credit to me or put selling, but Adam is going to share for the first time live how he was able to do that. So Adam is an interview I'm very pumped to have you guys listen to. Next up, Jason. Jason's going to be talking about how he spent 3 years putting together the pieces and quit his job, I think 15 days ago to be full time. So Jason, I love to have his story be told just because everybody has the goal of being full time. And I have a lot of people that have the ability to do that, but they just don't have the confidence. So Jason's going to show you exactly how he got there and why it took so long, how you can make it faster, and what he would have done differently. And last two people, Daniel and Jeremy, same deal, full-time traders with the system, using it to the T. Daniel has been full-time the longest. He's one of our teachers in the group, and he's probably the most meticulous, most consistent person I've ever met. So Daniel will be sharing his story around 1 MST, I believe. So that's the lineup today, and we're going to have this recorded. But there's a reason you're going to want to be here around the last hour, which I'll go over. So real quick, if you guys are here, take the link of this stream. You can scan the QR code here and send this to 3 people you think might want to watch this, might get value from option selling. You know, people that don't really have the financial skills. Maybe they have a good job. Maybe they are in school learning a different skill, but you know that they're going to need to tackle this one day and it could be life changing. So if you want to give someone the head start, having them watch these interviews today or the recording would be a great way to kind of change some people's lives out there. So real quick, scan this code, send it to some of the closest people you want to see win and succeed in the life and the system. And I'll give you a second to do that. So I appreciate it. Cool. Let me see what's happening here. All right, you guys can still hear me? Is this choppy or is this good? Just want to make sure we're all set. Still good? Still good to go? Cool. All right. Love it, guys. All right, so here's what's up next. Again, we're celebrating a year of cranking CSPs, having lots of winners per week. Typically, we're trying to hit about 2. And as you can see from the logged results from our software, this has been pretty consistent through sideways markets, pullbacks, and bull runs. So again, we are just celebrating this consistency, but we're trying to show you how it's been different for everybody and how it's changed these people's lives here. So here's like a picture. I put in the last year from all the closed trades, you know, where we close them on the day. So you can kind of visually see what the system looks like. At the end of the day, you put in a put trade and you can put in your exit order and it can do this automatically. But you can see, you know, you're hitting about 1 to 2 winners a week. And this is all passive. This is all while you're doing some other job, while you're living your life. I mean, it's some days, you know, you might manage a trade in a tough market a little bit differently, but for the most part, this is clicking for the whole year like this. So some weeks, you know, it's light, some weeks they close heavy. And this is kind of what the last year looks like if we were to put every trade on the chart. So the one thing is if you are not a student, type basically new in the chat. If you're not a student, type new, please. What we're going to do for everyone who's not a student is unlock the software. We're going to give you guys a sneak peek at how we do things, how we trade, the education, the software, all that stuff. We're going to give that to you guys for free, no credit cards, no BS at the end of the stream. So everything that's helped people become 6 and 7 figure students, you're going to have the ability to see what they had. But more importantly, most of those successful students never had this advanced system. So you're going to have a head start on the most successful students and a 7-day window to just see it all, try it out. Because I think with the software, you'll at least learn the framework quick. So a lot of new people here. I appreciate you guys commenting. You'll get some huge value here. So this is for non-students, not a student, anybody who has never sold a put with market moves. Again, this is a value add we're going to give to you guys at the end of this. So I'm going to do a 15-minute spiel before Renuka gets on who I am, because a lot of new people are going to be sharing their story, but you might be wondering why I have the credibility to be here today. So I've been in this game for about, I'd say 9 to 10 years. I first started in the markets after breaking my hip as a pro athlete. I was a runner, and at that point, I had a lot of free time, didn't have a lot of income, and was horrified of working a job, like absolutely terrified of it. So, with all my free time, I promised myself to just keep growing, keep learning, keep adding more skills to my tool belt because I'm not going to run forever. So, in 2016, basically, I got out of college, went into the pro field, trained with some of the best athletes in Colorado, and just cracked my hip in half in a race. It was actually in this picture at the same place, BU. And I was out for like 6 months. You can't run for 6 months. You can't do what you plan to do. And I wasn't working at the time because I spent my time running. So obviously couldn't work, couldn't run, went to trading. And this is just like a very tough time, because it was depressing, and it was just one time in my life where things were just not lining up at all how I planned. And so trading was the same thing, honestly. Trading was awful. I spent years and years and years just learning, and I was struggling. I was making money. I was giving it back. And at some point, I would hit these stretches where I felt like anything was possible. I think 2018, I hit my first like profitable stretch as a trader, turning 3K to 50K. And this was all doing swing trades with options. Sometimes I'd throw in a day trade. I would be using crypto. And at this point, I had windows always small windows where I could just conquer the world. And what happened was the window closes, the markets shift, and we kind of see this right now. Basically, a lot of people in the markets are kind of accustomed to a certain market, right? We just went up for like 2 months straight. So markets start shifting today. I start getting messages in the chat, Matt, I'm not making money. Matt, I'm red. Matt, this is not the same profit it was last month. And that's the tough part about trading. You have to kind of adapt almost on a weekly basis to the stocks you use, to the setup you use, to the markets, to the take profit orders. I mean, you're always adapting to even make it. And you don't even know if this money's coming in. So what happened was I gave it all back pretty much within a week. So trading, that window closed, and so did the profits. Yeah. I went too heavy at the wrong time. And then I doubled down, obviously, at the wrong time. And then I went in another trade after that. I mean, you name it, I've made the mistake as a trader. I've made every mistake you can imagine. So I had 50K, got chopped down to like 15. It was awful. I had the dream of basically owning a Tesla, broke college kid, no money. Everyone's buying Teslas that are famous at the time. They're expensive. Like Teslas finally became cheap enough for normal people to get them at like 50 grand. So I wanted to take that account and get a Tesla. I couldn't. I left my dream of the Tesla. It went out the window. But at that moment, I also basically promised myself to stop trading, Matt, because it wasn't working. And what happened was uh, I was missing out like with my friends. They'd go out to lunch. I'd want to not miss the lunchtime moves. And then there'd be a workout I'd be running at the track, and then I'd be checking my phone mid-workout to see a trade. It was like ruining my life at the moment, where I had a good stretch of making money, but at what cost? I was giving up my whole life. Even though it was profitable for that stretch, it cost me everything, mentally and within my day to day. So not only like was trading not worth it at the end because I didn't keep the profits, but trading wasn't worth it as a strategy because it didn't help me live my life and enjoy it. So I decided then to stop being afraid of put selling, stop being afraid of the selling aspect, because that is what I was giving the money to, was the option seller. I was always timing the market, trying to make money from gambling a swing trade, gambling a day trade. And again, the gambler is good, but not forever. The gambler is going to fail at the end of the day all the time. I have people that message me, made 1 million, lost it. Made 100K in a month, lost it. When you're gambling and you're on the other side of the option trade, it's hard to sustain it and keep it. And the issue is the mental aspect falls apart. And that's where, when the mental aspect falls apart, you can't control what happens after that. That's the worst of it. So fast forward, sold a put, made 500 bucks, didn't look at the screen, didn't even know what the setup was at the time, just was testing it out. And so it was the easiest 500 bucks ever. And from that moment, everything happened after that you can imagine. I had $1,000 day, a 10K day, 100K month, 100K day. I've hit all the milestones you could ever want in history trading. I did all of that from just finally selling a dang put. And if I didn't sell a put, I wouldn't hit this consistency and this, I'd say, long-term opportunity to succeed. So those milestones have unlocked everything for my life too, which I'll go over. But here is basically me put selling with the system I teach today. So I took, I'd say, $40,000, and 40K turned into 200 grand in about 3 months, right? So I had a 10K day at some point during this journey in this 3 month window. I had a 100K month at some point. I also took out 100K for the first time ever as a paycheck because I sold puts finally, right? I finally hit most of my goals in life, bought the Tesla I wanted because I sold the dang put instead of buying it. And this was basically from, I'd say, level one of the system I use, which this is high IV option selling. I did it wrong back then. It was great for this stretch of time. This stock didn't work forever, so I ended up kind of taking it out of my rotation. But the point is, this was like me working the system for the first time ever. And this started to click away all my goals I wanted. The money, the consistency, the car, you name it. So this was graduated to what we use now, which is really, I'll go to the screen here. All we're doing now is selling leveraged ETFs. Really, that's all it is. And if I click some of these leveraged ETFs, you're going to see that they are high IV. So it's a blessing and a curse. You have to use them correctly, or else they're going to burn. So this high IV option selling was everything I put together back in the day for the first time in 2021. 2021, this was the start of what I teach. But I've refined it since then, 5 years later, and allowing us to hit that 1 year win streak, because I've been refining it every single month, every single quarter, just ever so slightly, so we can avoid the mistakes, the drawdowns, the tough moments, the times where the system fails. So fast forward even more. This is basically what it looks like. I've refined the stock, the entry, and how to own things. Owning things is the end goal to do things correctly. And if you do enough reps of this, if you've been in the markets long enough, you're going to be able to do the risky stuff again. So what I want people to understand is like you don't have to ever forget buying options, buying stock, day trading. There's a moment in time where you can unlock that if you have control, if you understand yourself, if you understand the markets, you can unlock some serious potential. I use the other side of the wheel. I use day trading once in a while, and it does help me throw on some historical things that I've never been able to see, which is last year was my first $90,000 day trade. So there's levels to the system of success, but you can't jump until you're successful as an option seller. And until you get that rhythm of the markets, you just won't make it doing any of the other stuff. So I call it the layup, right? Selling options is a layup that leads to the ability to slam dunk some stocks, slam dunk some trades one day, right? You don't have to do it today. And if you get good enough and you get the practice down, it's going to be something you can add to your arsenal later. So, what I'm going to share here today is obviously people that have been successful, people that have accomplished the things you guys want. If you're not there, if you are there, cool. But I just want to show you maybe the path, maybe the person you can relate to so that you can become addicted to this game, committed to this game, and you stop looking for other things. So, just to give you the proof in the pudding, I mean, me personally, like I've been able to do everything you ever wanted to do in life. Build your dream house, retire your wife, go on a vacation. I mean, I've been on a month or 40-day long vacations, like anything you've ever dreamed of, like I've been able to finally do. And it's really come down to option selling. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that because the path works and the path got me everything that people want in life. And not only that, but like this path has gotten all these other people substantial things that we all dream of. For example, Daniel, dream house, vacations, wife not working. He's been able to provide that just like I have. So it's not like I'm a one-off scenario. I'm one person that did one thing. It's not like just my business revenue has provided in my life. No, this has been replicated from people who don't have what I have totally. So this system is constantly being replicated, and my framework has been laid down. Again, my results have been laid down, and then they have been also laid down for other people. So the point is, we want to replicate that for you guys here today. We want to show you some of the secrets here, how to use the flywheel, how to become full-time, how to add leaps, and then lastly, how to get that secret bonus. So we're going to be unlocking a little bit of this for the new students who aren't part of Market Moves. You guys won't have to pay anything. You have the ability to kind of get a sneak peek for a little bit. So I'm pretty pumped here. What's up, Chris? Sam is on our team. Yes. What's up, Chris? Chris. And yes, we will help you out. So glad you're here, Jason. Jason's on our team too. Jason has helped hundreds and hundreds of people become successful, commit themselves to this game. So really appreciative to our team. Shout out at this point to the whole Market Moves team in general. I mean, absolute killers. I've never been a part of a group where the synergy is just showing up every day, making sure you're giving it your all on every level. I mean, we have people that onboard people to make sure they get winning trades. We have people in the team that make sure you go to the right product and it's the right fit and make sure that you're ready to succeed. So we have everybody excited to do those roles. So it's amazing. And at this point, we have maybe 10 teachers who could run the whole group without me, and everyone would be happy because they're just amazing people that we just love being around. So they're inspiring. They give a different perspective. Just shout out to the Market Moves team. I'm really blessed for you guys. So we're gonna bring on Renuka at this point, and I'm gonna add her to the Zoom, and we're gonna start sharing Renuka's story. And Renuka, absolutely incredible person, so hardworking, has been trading since like the 90s, has been in the market since the 90s, and is literally trying to outdo herself every day, every month, outdo. I mean, she's spinning wheels around some of our best traders as well. You should see some of the stuff she's accomplished in the last 6 months. But she's our first one-on-one student, our first millionaire student, and most of her people that have came in after, her friends and her other family members, have been using the system too, which is crazy. All right, Renuka, you could pop on the Zoom here. We'll get you out of you don't have to be in the YouTube stream. So I'll tell, I guess while we're waiting for Renuka, I'll tell a little bit of her story as well. Hope I don't botch it too much, but the reason she joined this program, she had a lot of Apple stock and she wrote covered calls on Apple stock. And what happened was she couldn't make any money. Apple stock went through her covered calls. And what that looks like on a stock chart is, let's say you write covered calls, like at this price, and you go through it, you stop making money, right? Your shares don't make money. Your covered calls are capped, and you have to wait. You have to wait for the covered calls to expire before you can start freeing up capital, before you can start kind of using the capital again, for another stock, maybe another covered call. So I think the idea is like no income from that one stock was able to be created. So for someone that wants to make money or at least fund the route to uncovering this stock that was buried from covered calls, she came to us to unlock the stock and to have a way to generate money to unlock the stock. So she dialed in the system, showed up every day. I mean, we were brand new to a lot of the concepts we used, leveraged ETFs. That was kind of a foreign thing. A lot of the technical analysis was a little bit foreign, but she just pushed through, kept learning, and figured out how to maneuver this whole system through 220% corrections in the first year working together, 20% correction or 10% correction this year. She's been through a lot of downside and still came out a seven-figure earner for us. So she'll pop on. You guys can ask questions here, but we have her here now. So drop some questions in the chat. I'm gonna have her also share.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Renuka.
Sorry, just got onto the Zoom. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
It's just us talking, so you don't have to look at the chat. I'll monitor the chat for questions. But I'm excited to obviously have you share your story again, and appreciative that you would do that. And I know it's possibly a little uncomfortable.
Sure, sure. I'll be more than happy to do that. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me. Your very kind words, and I don't think I deserve all of that, but I'll try to do my best to convey my story. My name is Renuka. I have been working with options and stocks for over 25 years. If there is an option derivative, I've worked with it. And I also started to trade options right when online trading started in 2002, 2003. I have a PhD in materials engineering, and I worked for the Big Blue Corporation for 35 years in the semiconductor technology area. And I'm a technology buff, so I very familiar with a lot of this stuff that's going on in the world of semiconductors. And that's what got started me on options. Fast forward, I had my whole system went bust during the dot-com time. I was down 80% with some fairly significant bills to pay. And I got back into the market through all the different ups and downs that have taken place and started selling options. I couldn't agree with Matt more on the best way to make money was I figured out, hey, somebody's going to pay you money to buy stock. That's really good. I don't have to spend the money up front. And I got a little greedy and I went after very long dated puts and very long dated covered calls. So fast forward to 2024, I had a significant base of stocks, primarily with the Mag 7s, NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, the whole, the everybody's favorite stocks. But my problem was that I had sold very long dated covered calls on them and had used the money to buy other stock. And I was capped significantly in terms of the profits that I could get out of it because I was stuck in it for a longer period of time. And that's when I can't really remember how I got in touch with Matt, but I told him that I have this capital, but I need to free up my stock. And I'd never heard of leveraged stocks before, never ever. And he put forward this plan. He said, I got this training program for you. I'll coach you one on one and pick four tickers, and I'll make sure you succeed with it. And so we went through a period of 8, 9 months, and the revenues just started to pour in. And by the time 7 months came along, I had collected more than $1.4 million in revenues. And there was my way of freeing my stock. And I am not there completely yet, but I have to say that about 90% of my stocks that were capped in covered calls have all been released. So the profits that I got from selling puts and selling spreads and selling iron condors was pretty much enough to free up all my stock. And the freeing up of the stock also happened at a time in between 2024 and 25 when the underlyings also took off. You know, as all of you know, 2025 was a very good market for technology with the advent of AI and stuff. So now I'm in a very good position. I don't have to worry about uh, capping my profits, and my uh, my cost basis on the different stocks that I have is pretty low. So I don't really have to keep a lot of cash on hand. I don't have a lot of cash on hand because if I need cash, I can always sell my stock and still make a huge profit. So the strategies that I've been using are selling puts, selling spreads, selling iron condors in all the different um, in all the different underlyings that I have, and selling the stock for a profit when I feel it is necessary. And I'm copying some of the strategies that my team members are using over in Market Moves, where I just buy stock and sell stock for a profit, and I have the capital to accommodate it. But the one skill that I still haven't quite developed is, which I continue to learn, is reading charts. Not a very visual learner. I'm learn more by numbers and figuring out what my profit is. I do it the old-fashioned way. And I'm hoping I'll get there one day, Matt, in analyzing key levels and sweeps and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not there yet. And I can't tell you how much I learn every day from all the team members, in spite of my experience with options. So rotating
Yeah.
that capital is another skill that you've taught me to the hilt, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. And
Nice.
and the debt
Always something
capital in
new.
my case was all of my Mag 7s. And I really appreciate all the help that you've given me to free up my uh, stock that was tied up in so much for such a long time. I have to say they were tied up for almost 7, 8 years because I kept rolling the covered calls. So that's
Yeah.
my story.
Yeah, and we had a September seminar where you got the first seven-figure award for market moves, and you were so inspired to hear from the higher end students with risk, like they, you know, did some leaps and they did some 2000% moves some cases. You could talk about your goal, but you set a goal to make 36-figure days
Yeah,
over 2026.
I
And
remember that very well. I said, you asked me, so what are your plans? And I said, this is what my plan is. I came up with it at the spur of the moment when you and I were having a discussion. I said, I want 30 100K days. And you said, oh, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know how, but I think I'm going to do it.
well, so
And
you got inspired by some of the students, and I think five stocks or so you made 100K off of from just the seminar, meeting people, learning, and you applied it like almost instantly after.
yeah, and there were some tickers that were very, very valuable. I don't think too many people in the group were working with it, but my biggest gainers for it was Credo Technologies,
Yeah, and
Bloom
Bloom.
Energy, Soxcell, and NVDL, and TSLL. So since September, I've been cranking the daylights out of BE because it has gone through such a cycle of ups and downs. I've been fortunate enough, and it's happens by just by mere sheer intuition. I don't think I plan it, but it has happened. I've had multiple rounds of 100K days with just these five tickers.
Well, talk about you started the system, like we made the plan to get to that seven-figure range, and you were just put selling, and now you told yourself, I'm going to try to do the other side of the wheel, and now you're trying to hit six-figure days. What was that transition like going from like doing the basic wheel to graduating?
The transition was very, very inspiring. It had a lot of adrenaline, and unlike you, Matt, I mean, you enjoy it too, don't get me wrong, but I don't find this stressful. I don't find it a situation where I love coming. I love trading. I love listening to the people. And I get the energy from the younger crowd. And it's extremely inspiring on how well the team members interact. Daniel, who's going to be on soon, and I'm not the transition from doing long-term trades to doing short-term trades has been the biggest game changer for me. So not new, but what I'm trying to do right now is all the Mag 7s now have options that expire 3 times a week. And cranking out premiums out of these 2 day 2 day expirations and 4 day expirations has been extremely easy, both on the credit call side as well as the credit put side. So that is what I'm experimenting with right now, and the initial success has been tremendous, tremendous. And if somebody wants to join me with that, I'll be very excited to have them help me, and I'm very excited to help them out also.
Yeah, I want to share this for everyone because this is kind of how I coached you in the beginning, and then you can share some of the stuff you're doing now. But also, everybody in the chat, give like a thumbs up, give like a fire emoji if you appreciate Renuka being here. Would love to hype her up. She's incredible and she's pushing herself and always moving forward. So it's just awesome to see. And you can also smash the like on the video here to help kind of push the video out too. So this is what we were doing originally. I know with BITX we did that like crazy, like hotcakes, but you were selling like 100 to 200 day out options
Yes.
and going for like something out of the money. For example, like Soxel, if you sell 110 strike today for November, you're going to get a return of 30%. So like sometimes you might even go for less. I think you would go for like even 15 in a year. And you could sell a Soxel 64 put, which is like, I think at this point, 60% discounted. So we were doing that on BITX and Tesla and even Soxel, I believe. This was like your favorite trade initially, and then you kind of shifted it, right?
Yes. I on TSLL for 280 day put, we were getting like 30% discount. Where do you get that?
Yeah,
And they all went out of the money at some point in time. So that's how we pocketed those kind of revenues, you know. And the game changer was the leveraged ETFs.
yeah,
Sorry, I paused there for a minute.
yeah,
That was now, of course, we've learned a lesson. You know, you do sell puts on the leveraged ETFs, and you take the profits and you then invest it in the underlying. That rotation from leveraged ETFs to the underlying, because at the end of the day, owning stock and selling stock for a profit is the best way to get more gains over
exactly.
a
Yeah.
period of time. And my advice is it doesn't happen overnight. You can't be afraid of the red signs that you see in front of your ticker symbols, and we can always roll to the next higher price or to a later date and collect more in revenues. That has been my favorite. I've designated myself as the queen of rolls.
Yeah, you rolled like deep losers and they came back too. So like
Yes.
I guess everyone here, if you want to type some questions in, we'll spend last 10 minutes with questions and then I believe Jason's on next. And then yeah, and then Jason, then Jeremy. But Renuka, with the mindset you just said earlier that you don't view this as stressful for somebody that just starts put selling and just starts a system like this, like how can they have the same idea that it's not stressful, even when things go south, even when the markets pull back, like that mindset and that stress, it seems like even if a trade is instantly red or just dipped red, I think people tend to start tensing up with their mindset of this strategy too. So how did you kind of comfortably sit through that?
I think I've gone through multiple down cycles where my capital has gone down by 15%, 20%, but I have never panicked. I've never sold anything in panic because at the end of the day, you have to believe in the stock market's resilience. Over the years, 10 years or 5 years, you have to have a long term perspective. And if it goes down now, it is going to come back up again. And the other thing is, I believe in US technology. I believe in technology. My 80% of my capital or my portfolios is in technology at this particular time. It wasn't that way before. And I think we have to identify the key markets and stick with it.
Yeah.
If if you have a red sign in front of your option trade, you have to wait and see how it works out and then employ the correction strategy. And in my case, I can always tell you that greater than 90% of the cases, even if the initial option has lost value or has gone at a loss, I've always been able to make it up over time. And you have to have time work for you, you have to have the patience, and you have to have a thesis on every stock. If don't work with a stock that you don't believe in. And if you believe in it, you stick with it and you build up your portfolio. You sell puts, you buy stock with the premiums that you get from it. And slowly your portfolio will build up. And the other point I also wanted to make to you, Matt, is I don't know how other people view it, but there's something about there's your account value and your portfolio value versus profits. They don't always go hand in hand. I've had 100K days when my total portfolio has gone down by 5%. And then there's been other times when my portfolio has gone up and I've by 16%, but some of my initial, some of my trades have gone down 50%. So they're always not in sync together. But over a period of time, you have to determine, did my account value go up? Did I make enough money? Did it go up 50%? And just from 2025, in the last year or so, I have doubled my major accounts.
Wow,
And have I
that's
lost money?
crazy.
Yes, I have. Have all my trades been as successful as yours? No, they have not. But you have to keep everything in perspective and you have to be in it for the long haul and you have to get excited about it.
Yeah, some questions are like, how many trades do you have high conviction wise at once? That was
High
kind of
conviction trades at any particular point in time, I may have 20 or 25.
okay. So that's a good split. And so that way you're not nervous if one went down.
Yeah. And I also believe that the high conviction trades are the ones that I have in with very strong equities.
So
But
you like Microsoft and you sell puts on MSFU. Is that an
yes,
example?
yeah, and I would sell puts on, I would sell spreads on uh, MSFT. I would sell spreads on Apple,
I
sell
do
spreads
spreads
on
too, yeah.
Amazon, all of them. They're all very strong equities, and you have to be able to take advantage of that.
That's
Apple isn't going
interesting.
to disappear anytime overnight. Neither is Nvidia.
I'm getting a lot of questions on margin. You don't use margin, right?
Pardon me?
You don't use margin, right?
I don't borrow money on margin, but I do
Yeah.
use my stock as collateral. Two
For
different
for
things.
a covered call, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. How much do you generate a month off spreads?
It depends. I would say that I would it's I don't want to give out actual numbers, but they are clearly in the six-figure range.
Because it's interesting because I don't teach spreads very often, so you must have morphed the system to like a little bit of the spreads.
Yeah, I do. I typically I try to do spreads that give me 100% return. Like if I have a $5 spread,
Yeah,
I will get $2.50 out of premium, so that only $2.50 is at stake. And that way, my losses are minimized. And I, since I've worked so much with spreads, I definitely do roll them out a lot.
yeah, for sure. You're the rolling queen with with Ferrata. You guys
Yeah.
are rolling, rolling, rolling. Yeah,
Actually, I think the rolling part of it, we kind of mastered it over wine.
yeah, the wine
We didn't
nights.
know what we were doing.
Oh man, that's on my bucket list is to have a wine night with you too and Talk candlesticks.
Yeah, come to Northern California. You're stuck in Colorado.
We'll be out there at some point. Yeah, we got to hit up that place. Let me see if I got it. Any
You
other
know, the offer is
important.
open, Matt.
I'll be there. We'll get
Okay.
Shane out too.
But
And we get,
thank you so much for all your help and all your guidance. And the best thing about working with you is you work with so many diverse kind of people, oldies like me and people that are just starting out, and you have a system for everyone.
yeah. Yeah, you can kind of branch off the CSP route like you have, but
Right.
like you took a long time to do CSPs, and you were doing the lowest risk ones possible. You're doing further out, long term, out of the money, and at some points you're just rolling those every couple of weeks, every month, and you have to spend a long time doing the CSPs.
I'm glad to see that sometimes you do go out and recommend CSPs for 60 days or 90 days, which you never did before. So you're beginning to realize the
Yeah,
safety that's involved. I can work with time, but what I can't work with is um, very short time frames. If I have to
yeah.
do things
So
in a hurry, that gives me a
you don't
lot of stress. But
you don't like 1 week out, 2 week out CSPs.
no, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Some people were asking that in the chat. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we got? We have highest conviction stocks you like right now. Let's see what you're
I,
zoning in on.
my highest conviction stocks right now are Google and Google
Nice.
and Google. I think, and once I have a conviction of that kind with a stock, I will definitely do my very best at it. Use any means possible. That's
So you
my biggest conviction. And
so you like Google? Do you like start hammering leveraged ETFs and buy them?
yes,
Do you buy
yes,
leveraged ETFs right away?
buy leveraged ETFs, sell puts on the leveraged ETFs, and sell spreads on the underlying Google. Use short term. Google is a very good one for the midweek CSPs.
True.
And when you have a position, then selling strangles on them is very, very lucrative.
So do you think about like when to buy Google if you like it, or do you just start buying it? And how do you buy it over time?
Well, the way I do it is I start out with the leveraged ETF. I start I buy stock, half of my position with the leveraged stock, and the other half I sell CSPs. And when the stock goes up, I take the profits and I move over to buying Google as an individual stock. And
Yeah.
likewise, when it goes down, I sell some of my Google stock. Now that I don't have it in covered calls, I'll sell it. I'll buy the leveraged ETF, wait for that to go up, and rotate back. That way, you're able to take advantage of the 2x appreciation that you get. And that was something that I learned from you.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful move to be able to play that leverage up and down.
Yeah, and that I was very it was very productive for me with Microsoft as well and
Yeah.
NVIDIA. NVDL has been a total game changer.
And when do you know when a play is not worth it? One you wouldn't want to kind of get more aggressive on. Do you have a filter for understanding like when it's not a typical stock you should be adding to?
The filter is my brain.
Yeah.
I look at the stock and see what it's doing, and I say, nah, I'm not going to work with it.
Mostly, when would that happen?
When it's when it's not moving up a lot. And when there's not much activity or sentiment about it,
Yeah,
even when things are strong within the market. But there are times when I will ignore a stock for a while and then get back to it a few months later. It's never a permanent kind of a situation. It's just a question of timing.
sure.
But uh, there are so many different very good plays now with AI and everything. And iron was another one that was very, very productive for me.
Yeah, thanks to Isaac. Isaac's been hammering the chat right now. He's making jokes, but yeah, you
What kind of jokes is he making? I can't see the chat here.
that he said he's trying to hit 30, 100K red days.
100K red days. He's going to have a hard time doing that. He's making fun of me.
Make it
That's
funny.
okay.
And then John and Daniel want to come out too. I guess John's in California, but they want to have a wine night with us too. So you might have some company for wine night.
Yeah. Tell
What?
Isaac that I want to be just like him when I grow up. I've already told him that.
I love it. I want to be like Isaac too. Isaac inspired me to go hard this year and push it. So we're gonna have Lindsay plan a wine weekend in September. I think September's
All
a good
right.
time.
Way
We'll
to
come out to
go.
Cali.
Yes.
I'm a big wine fan, so I'll be there. And
I
we'll
have
just the inner or the top tier students, the
yeah.
small circle. We'll have some wine together.
I have six wineries within walking distance of my home.
Oh my goodness. That's the dream. Forget six-figure days. I mean, I want to live on a place with six wineries next to me.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you, Renuka. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Matt. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I
Yeah,
hope it's been helpful. But like anything else, any details, I'm happy to chat with people on.
sure. Appreciate you. We'll organize a September wine trip.
All right.
I'll
Looking forward
push
to it.
Lindsay. All right. Have a good day. I'm gonna get Jason on here and then I'm gonna bunch you out of the Zoom. And you could pop over to the YouTube next.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, yeah. What's up, Jason?
Good afternoon.
Hey, brother. Let me pull up your slides. I'll give you a short intro, and I might ask you to like expand as we go through each slide.
Sure.
All right. All right. Next up, everybody, is Jason. If you guys want to throw a yes in the chat, if you're pumped to hear Jason talk about how he went full time after years of piecing together the system, hit it in the chat for me, and we'll get going, Jason. And you guys can ask some questions. We'll go one by one through this stuff. All right. So Jason Renuka was like our one-on-one student program that we developed out 2 years ago. Yeah, about eight, and it might have been 2 years. Yeah, crazy, right around this time. But Jason was the first student of the CSP program, like one of the top five first students. So when I first made we call it coaching, we went from like, $100 subscription to like a higher tier program, more focus. Jason was one of the first to come into that. And 2021, fast forward 4 years later, he's on that path to making enough to quit his jobs, actually quitting his job, and to keep this going. So that's kind of like the history of Jason. He's got an interesting chapter before us. We can go over this a little bit, but you were doing like credit spreads, zero DTE, short-term spreads, and you took 50K and you grew it to 200. But then just obviously, high risk, oversizing, Then it started to fail, kind of like my story. You can have a window of success, but the window closes. So you saw that window close and you kind of slash that six-figure account back down. Um, I'll have you talk about this after. Let me go over one more slide. And then fast forward to, going through the high risk system, success, then struggle. He goes into option selling, but it took years to obviously get there. And he grew an account like 100% in a year. And it was a loan, so this is an interesting scenario, but it was like you can't mess up. This is borrowed money. You got to protect it, and he bet on himself to do this strategically. And mostly with Tesla, just TSLL, the leverage Tesla, Jason accumulated free shares. So he did the wheel so much that the shares paid for themselves. He took Tesla from 30K to 90, which is basically doubling your capital. But he was selling calls and puts the whole time, which means every single week you're making enough to just lower your cost basis while getting some tremendous upside to obviously double your money. So if I go to Tesla here, kind of the idea is, you can sell a put on Tesla and make right now for, let's see, one contract like $70, let's say. So think about that. If you have a $9 stock, $70 a month, you're probably paying for that stock in like 10 months. But if that stock doubles, you're also getting your account to double and free shares. So it's like a free vehicle for income moving forward. Um, this is just a crazy thing. So I'll let you, I'll pause here and stop rambling. But if you want to go through the beginning, the middle, and kind of where you're at now, Jason, this is some wild um, stuff that we've seen.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey for the past 5 years or so that I've been trading, and like you said, I did a different program which kind of taught me the basics of CSPs, the basics of covered calls, and credit spreads, right? Whether it's a put spread or a call spread. And then they had a strategy around that, and it worked for a while, especially in a bull market. I was doing a lot of put spreads, and I grew my account, like you put on there, like 50K all the way up to 200K. Um, but the crazy thing I was doing, and again, I would never recommend this for anybody, but I was taking my whole account into one single spread. So whether I was doing a weekly or a monthly spread, that whole account was into that one spread. And that was working well up until the one time it didn't, right? And that one time it didn't, I lost about half my account. So that was not a fun time, not a fun day. It kind of put me out of being able to trade mentally for a few months. And then even getting back in, I was very scared and timid, right? Because I mean, you go up to 200K and boom, you're right back to 100K. And again, even though growing 50K to 100K, that's still great. That was doubled. But I mean, when you have quadrupled it at one point, that was phenomenal. And again, a big loss like that just does kind of wreck you mentally. So it's one of those things you definitely have to be careful of.
Yeah.
Um,
So what was the difference like doing that system and then putting together ours? Like, what's the day to day, the week to week feeling from, obviously go big or go home. There's a lot of profit in some strategies, but
right.
what's the big difference kind of where we're at?
Kind of, I know Renuka kind of alluded to it too, is the stress, right? I mean, especially trying to do this full time and get rid of a normal full-time job and reduce your stress. Trading and adding a lot of stress into it is not the way to go, right? So doing the credit spreads and watching them and making sure it doesn't kind of close where you're losing money is it becomes very stressful. Doing the normal cash secured puts, the covered calls, on stocks you want to own or you're okay getting rid of, it just completely takes that stress out of there. So it's kind of a lot less stress, and just a much easier system to kind of monitor and babysit and not have to be in front of your computer for 8 hours a day watching tickers go up and down and making sure your spread's kind of going to close and not take away any of your money.
Yeah, and like the length of time you've been, I guess, consistent is at this point like going past a year from the Tesla shares to now. But the
Yeah, that
CSPs
was
were working. You how talk about like the CSP integration, how long that was kind of like working for you before that too.
Yeah, I was starting to get fairly consistent. I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, and that's where I started to build up the confidence to say, okay, I'm ready to go all in. I just wanted to get some additional capital just to kind of help it grow faster now that I kind of felt that I had my feet under me completely. And that's when, again, taking out that loan, add additional capital, and that's when I kind of said, like, hey, I can't fail now. I really got to put my head down. I got to trade systematically. I got to do everything correctly like I was doing, even though I have more capital now. I can't just do stupid trades and all of a sudden go back to doing crazy stuff, right? Where there's a lot of risk and a lot of reward. So that's where I just kind of got back to the basics. I mean, using TSLL, right? I mean, that was my bread and butter last year. And I know Renuka kind of touched on it a little bit too, but selling the CSPs, eventually, or you want to probably get assigned that stock at some price, whatever stock it was. But the powerful thing that I kind of found is once you have it assigned and you're running covered calls and you're running CSPs on it, it just you're kind of collecting double income on the same amount of capital. So it was a way to really start to reduce my dollar cost average, as you can see here. And then I accumulated 10,000 shares of Tesla, which I at dollar cost average down to zero at that point. So then I could just continue to sell covered calls, still collect premium on it, or even start to do more CSPs and accumulate even more if I wanted to. So just a way, and I mean, doesn't have to be TSLL. That was just my bread and butter last year. So just was a really easy way. And again, consolidating the amount of tickers that you're watching is huge and was huge for me going full time because I did have way too many that I was looking at and had different positions in, and managing that was a nightmare. And just getting down to like four or five tickers that I kind of watch and learn and study and the ones that I play, and that's been kind of a game changer and just turning it into my bread and butter at that point.
Yeah, let me show you guys kind of the idea here. So if you had how many shares?
I was up to
10,000.
10,000, yes.
So 10,000 shares. Today it's like did this in right? 10,000
Yeah.
shares, 140K. So you got it like $7 to $9. So it's like 90K. Uh, this today, let's say you had 10,000 shares, you're still holding it. Covered calls, depending on how you use our system, you can write them aggressively out of the money, super out of the money. I mean, this, think about it like this, guys who are listening, like he had free money, basically paid for from covered calls. So every dollar he had in Tesla was free. And this free money could generate on a low risk standpoint, let's say 30 days out, that's a 6 grand paycheck in 30 days, or 10 grand in 30 days, or 12 grand in 30 days. That's kind of like the range. So, I mean, he could basically make 10 grand blindfolded from free shares, which is absolutely sick to say. Like, that's what the wheel could do is generate cost basis down to zero. And that's like free income like for life. I mean, the Tesla might go to zero. That's the worry, but still, while we wait, it's still making enough income to kind of offset that timing. So I'll go through kind of like the last 30 days on this slide, and then you can talk about it. But you put in your letter of resignation. The goal is to have the free time, put it in your family, put it in your health, the freedom to work wherever you want, go wherever you want. How does that feel to finally make that switch recently?
It's I mean it's early. I mean like you said, it was just literally the beginning of this month, so I'm a whole full 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
But it's been phenomenal. I mean, I usually just kind of keep up with the market in the morning, and I'm over on the East Coast, so I mean, I usually try and jump away from my laptop by about 11 o'clock at the latest. and then go on about my day. I mean, it was just actually funny enough, my first full-time day trading as on my own was a 4-year anniversary of my heart attack that I had. So obviously having that heart attack and having that scare, health is definitely a huge focus for me. So I try and shut my laptop down at 11 o'clock, go for my jog, get some exercise in. Um, and then I got the rest of the day to I go pick up my daughter from school or whatever I want to do. And it's just been amazing. And I mean, you can set up alerts, and if you have positions that you want to either get into or get out of at certain times, if you need an alert, have that alert set up. It'll get you on your phone, and boom, you can kind of take care of that wherever you are. So just having the time and having the freedom, having extra time to do whatever with the family, it's just been amazing. I mean, again, it's been a whopping 2 weeks, but I mean, already I can kind of feel the difference, and it's just I'm looking forward to, I mean, this for many more weeks and months and years to come. So
Yeah.
and then also trying to figure out long term where I want to retire to, where does that look like, and not being locked into a job to kind of control that is kind of nice because I mean you can move anywhere and still continue to trade. So just kind of a wonderful position I've put my head down and tried to get to, and it's been a goal of mine. Finally achieved it, and now I just got to still keep my head down and make sure I don't lose it.
Yeah, I'll let people in the chat ask some questions. But I'm curious on obviously the goal is being full time. I think a lot of people have that goal. This is kind of like the roadmap I've made. Um, Developing foundation with CSPs, getting to stock, kind of what Renuka's been doing. Um, Doing leaps is level 3, and then level 4 is obviously generating enough income from other things to kind of offset the W2 stuff. So, what is your advice to people like when to make the switch, how you got to this place to be comfortable enough to make the switch from doing the system? Like, do you want to talk about that transition?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it obviously it takes a long time, and it's not one of those things you want to jump in and try to, like Matt said. I mean, you don't want to jump in trying to start day trading. And I've done some day trading and made $10,000 in a trade I was in 30 minutes, right? But what did I do the next day? Tried to do a similar trade, and boom, I'm down 8,000. Tried again next day, I'm down another five. So day trading is hard. There's people who have success, but a lot of failures along the way. But start with a foundation, start doing like the CSPs, generating your income, get used to that, do the wheel strategy. You got to kind of do the crawl, walk, run approach, right? You can't go right to running because you got to understand all the basics. Get the basics down, and as you get the basics down, then you kind of keep adding those other little things like leaps and other things, right? Using leverage stuff. Um, but that's what I did last year, even working full time and trading part time. I mean, again, that just shows you how much time you really have to put into this once you get the system going. I was able to make more trading than I did in my full time job. And that's kind of was the little light bulb that went off and said, hey, if I can do that part time and I made more than what I did working full time, why am I working full time when I could just work part time? So that's when I kind of said, oh, okay, this year I want to make that switch. So I pulled the plug, and as of the beginning of this month, that's when I kind of jumped out on my own and just keeping my head down and making sure everything is successful.
You love it. And with your TSLL, you hit the home run. Ticker was like the best ticker for the last year. Even today, it's been pretty resilient.
Right.
Um, how do you pick tickers? What's on your radar? I know you have a lot of focus on a couple at one point, not like 10, but just like a couple. So how do you validate like what to use with our option selling?
I mean, obviously, the program that you have there put in place, I mean, that kind of helps us weed out stuff and, and find tickers to use. I mean, finding ones that have the fundamentals you're looking for your strategy. I mean, if it's low RSI and on a weekly or monthly basis, or you feel like that sector's about to take off, and just kind of picking stocks that way and getting in as early as possible. And I kind of like sometimes, depending on where the stock is, to kind of jump in the wheel and do all three sides. I found that to be fairly successful over time. So again, you buy some stock, you sell some more CSPs, and then you cover the calls, put that whole system together, and it really starts to generate some income. And then I feel like if the shares get pulled away, or if I get assigned more shares, I kind of collected double premium to do that. So that's kind of been where I like to be. So it's been successful so far. That's again how I accumulated all that TSLL last year, and just looking forward to doing some more on some more tickers, maybe even TSLL since it's at a pretty good price right now.
Yeah. It's kind of gonna come back down to your $9 level soon, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar thing I heard from you and Renuka is the focus on the CSP and the stock uh, and the covered call all at the same time.
Yes.
And how do you decide like how much, when, like what's the split, like kind of what's your mindset for dividing out the capital?
Um, that's where I may differ. I mean, and actually, kind of Renuka said it. It's just kind of following what you feel. Like it's kind of my gut, right? Um, and I don't have an exact system, I'll say, for that part of how much of my capital I use and how much I put into one or the other. I mean, I just know, hey, if I want to own, if I'm just going to make it a 50K position or something, and I buy half the stock now and put some in covered calls and then cover the ones I bought. Sometimes I've done it like 75%, I'll buy it right away, depending on where it's at, from looking at different levels and stuff after some technical analysis. Just depends on how quickly and heavily I might get into the stock versus just doing more covered calls than a little bit of stock.
Yeah. But this is like probably the most important aspect that made you successful last year was kind of jumping right to owning.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you said, I mean, if you accumulate enough and then you have a originally, I mean, even if the top end you bought something was at $9 and now you're still doing covered calls and it's up to $14, I mean, not only have you gotten that additional almost 50% appreciation, but then you've collected covering calls on it as well. And it just, again, it's uh, the 10,000 shares and getting it down to a cost basis of zero doesn't even accumulate also the possibility and the uptick of just stock appreciation in that as well. So
Yeah.
um, it's just been kind of a game changer, and to do it stress free without having to be in front of your computer all day long or for hours a day, it's just been life changing.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. And we'll check the questions. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. Um, let's go through Tesla a little bit. I mean, walking through like month to month, I guess just your mindset of these different periods of time, like how you view the wheels. So I think you came in right at the bottom, around the bottom, probably mid bottom. But there's moments where obviously, Tesla's running hot, and there's moments where it's consolidating.
Hmm.
So what are you doing to when you had your shares last year? Were you sizing in and out at these moments? Were you adjusting much? How did you view like these kind of
Not
sections of
really. A
price?
lot of times, like, I mean, when it would spike up and I would do like even Renuka said, right? And I'd roll some of those covered calls that I would have, or sometimes I'd roll the CSPs. It depends. Like it depends where the stock was. And but during those consolidation phases, I mean, as you see, when it's kind of channeling, that's exactly when the flywheel having both sides works great. I mean, if you're selling covered calls above where it's channeling, you're selling CSPs below where it's channeling, and it just sits there and channels all day long, you're just collecting double premium and loving life. Um, so
Yeah.
it was, I mean, as you can see, yeah, there's that one big channel there. It probably is right in the sweet spot of where it was really good. And then I probably had to roll some of my covered calls on the big jump up there. I can't see the months or anything, but yeah, right there. And then
Yeah,
again, I've been
October.
back to channeling some.
You kept rolling when it popped.
Yeah.
But when you're doing your both sides of the wheel, you're selling these puts and calls. Are you trying to keep buying the shares too, or you just
It depends. Like as I was kind of accumulating some, yes, and I mean as I accumulated more profit, I could buy some more shares. I mean, I didn't go all in and buy 5,000 and get 5,000 assigned when I built up to 10,000. It could have been
yeah,
like 2,000 or 2,500 at a time. But then once I got to 10,000, I didn't really want to continue accumulating a lot more because that was kind of already a sizable position in one. So that's where I just started kind of doing the covered calls. And at that point, you can even do some of them a little bit more aggressive and some of them not so aggressive. So then if some get called away, then you can start doing the other side of the wheel again. So um, it just depends. Like, I mean, it's just I kind of watch it and see where it's going, where I think it's going to continue to trend and kind of adjust along the way.
yeah. But you're mostly just using cash to generate income, but you're not like you're not trying to force like more shares on. You're just focusing on income mostly for the puts side of your portfolio.
Correct. Yeah, once I build up to the position size that I was going to, then yeah, I was just kind of looking at it 100% just for kind of income per se, rather than accumulating more shares.
Yeah, I like that. Let me check if we have any questions. We got some people popping some in here. Um, Questions from the top. Technical analysis, what kind of helps you gauge proper times to execute some part of the entry point?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking at different supply and demand kind of areas on higher time frames to see where it might hit some resistance one way or the other, whichever way it's going. And when I kind of did this, the majority of like my CSPs and covered calls for a 30-day expiration. So kind of gives you a decent sized window to um, be able to get a little bit further out of the money if you wanted to, or if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. Like when it is kind of hitting those tops and you see it kind of hitting some resistance there when it was up towards that like $22-ish range. That's where you could kind of get a little bit more aggressive selling some covered calls if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then the same thing when it gets down to like that $10 range and you can get a little bit more aggressive selling your um, cash secure puts as well. And then looking at
Yeah.
RSI as you have up there, right? And when the RSI is getting hot, that's I mean that's a good time to go a little bit either more aggressive in your covered call and or when it's low, you can get a little bit more aggressive in your cash secure put. So just kind of taking different technical factors, marrying them all together and understanding the stock. And once you kind of follow a stock pretty closely over days and weeks and months, you kind of learn and you learn a lot about it. You know when the earnings are, you know what to look for. So putting all that together and just kind of then you just your gut feeling starts to kind of lead you a little bit too, and using that along with the technicals to kind of make your best judgment.
Yeah. So you're adjusting the covered call strike based on your reading of the chart, your gut feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe your P&L is really high that month. You want to protect yourself. Um, yeah, I like that. So makes a lot of sense.
And sometimes I would roll the calls or the puts out at the same price, and then the next time I'd roll it, then they'd be closed out of the money and
Yeah.
worthless. Or um, I don't think I really rolled any out and up. I just didn't feel like there was a spot where I needed to do that from where I was in my current cover calls and cash secure puts. So more just kind of rolled them kind of at the same strike, and it eventually kind of came back into there where it became worthless, and I just kept the income.
Yeah, this is such a cool ticker to do the wheel because it's been flat since 2023.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
kind of
like,
channeled I mean, if you, it has kind of dipped down in the sevens or sixes on my, maybe even five, but most of the time it's kind of between that 10 and 20-ish
yeah,
a
nuts.
lot. So, I mean, accumulating it in there and you could just keep selling cash secure puts at 10 and covered calls at 20. I mean,
Yeah.
or somewhere in that mix, depending on how aggressive you want to be during that time.
I think the biggest pro hack on Tesla is it is a on the higher end of IV. So you're just getting paid more while it's flat, which is pretty nuts. Like if you did this on TNA, you'd get like probably half the paycheck. So it's kind of cool when a high IV ticker can just chop and you
Yeah.
could really manipulate both sides of the wheel like you've been doing. So yeah, at this point you're out of the stock, but you might re-enter if it comes back to maybe some key area you are familiar with it bottoming at.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back into it again now and kind of keeping a close eye on it. So we'll see what happens.
Perfect.
But still has some good premiums and still, I mean, it's kind of channels like you kind of like between that 10 and 20, it's kind of right in the middle, even a little bit lower now. So um always a chance it could go down to that 7 or 6, but always a chance it can get back up to those all-time highs up in the 40s.
For sure. Yeah, I love it. I appreciate you sharing your story. And this is a great way for people to see how to go full time and really how to keep it simple. I mean, one ticker did it. And it's just kind of focused, on one thing, not even too much like to manage, but you're just cranking both sides of the wheel. Like it's probably even not even complex as people are making it. It's not like a perfect entry for puts or calls. Like you just really taking advantage of the higher IV decay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything last you want to leave people with?
Um, just kind of, I guess, restating what I did. Like, I mean, just try to kind of get your focus down to a few core tickers that you know about, you like, you want to follow. I mean, maybe Tesla's not your thing, maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's something else, but find some tickers with, like you said, some good IV that maybe have a good channel range, run the wheel, do both sides. And I mean, people can make full income just from one single ticker. I truly believe that. I think you don't always have to go to 20 different tickers to replace your full-time income. You could just do it with one, or even just a handful. So,
Yeah, man,
and then
for
just
sure.
because if you don't mind owning it, then it becomes a lot less stress than buying stuff and running positions on stuff that either you don't know about or you don't want to own. So it's just been life changing.
Yeah, I guarantee you wouldn't have that much profit from doing three tickers. Like I think you would have probably had a little bit less focus, a little bit less income, maybe some big losers on one or two tickers per month sometimes. So staying focused is really the key. I think it unlocked your best you ever because of that.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Appreciate you also teaching in Texas and excited to get you teaching long term in the group too.
awesome. Can't wait.
We'll chat more. Thank
Sounds
you for
good.
coming on today and appreciate you maybe stepping outside your comfort zone here for YouTube.
Not a problem.
All right, brother. I'm gonna bring
Thanks.
on Jeremy and we'll see you in the chat.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone give Jason a good thumbs up here, a good high five in the chat for sharing his story. We got another killer coming up, Jeremy, Mr.
Hey
Jeremy.
guys.
Hey, brother. Um, you got a great story for you to share. I'll give
Uh,
like a quick overview, hype you up. But yeah, Jeremy, he put together the system, I'd say fully in a really confident way this year. And it led to obviously those big dominoes in your life that you want, like the debt free, the no job, paying for your wife not to work possibly. And it was really from lining up a lot of the stuff the other students have mentioned today, like owning the stock, getting the leads at the right time and a correction, and then focusing on just staying on one ticker, staying focused on just a couple key things instead of a million trades. And so yeah, last year I think we had some success, but it was just getting close to being dialed in, and this was the big year. So um, yeah, I'll have you share your slides this time.
Yeah.
And you could start off with like before you dialed this in, what was it like? What were you doing? What were the mistakes? And
Yeah.
then I'll go to the next slide, but I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. So I'll let you do the talking here for a second.
Cool. Yeah, so I was actually I joined in this group in the past, um probably about 5 years ago, when he did more of the high risk things. And I blew up 3 accounts, and I was like, I am out of this. I'm done. And then I didn't um trade at all for probably like a year or two. And then I joined in this one now. It's been about, I think I'm closing in on my 3rd year. Um and then so uh I joined with the mindset that I kind of had in the past, like where, risk equals big checks, right? I was trying to chase these massive wins. And I mean, like you've heard, I also had insane wins, but I mean, I remember, so I lost $100,000 in a month. So this was last April, um, which was like over half of my account. And I mean, I had hustled and built it. But I got lazy, and then I got too comfortable. And then you start doing something with a little extra risk, a little extra risk. High IV stocks, they're super fun when they're fun, but um they they will hit hard. So last April, on that crash there, I was in CSPs. I was in heavy on the CONL, which is a leverage coin base. And then I was in heavy on ETHU, ETHU, which is a leveraged Ethereum. April hit, and then everything dropped, and then I was down 100 grand in like days,
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
bad. That's a bad drop.
And like I can't even explain the pit in my stomach. I was like physically sick, and then I just like
Jeez.
looked at that loss, and I'm like I just, and then like I almost quit. Matt, I sent you, and I'm like, I think that I'm done, dude. Like I can't handle this anymore. And you're like, you know what? Show back up, every day. And then focus on just these small wins, small wins, build.
Yeah.
Um, so that was when things changed. And then into um I went into being just robotic and boring. I mean, like how I trade, it is extremely boring in that I have like at any time, um, I might watch like five stocks and then I'll play like three to five plays. Um,
I got I
and
got I got your message in July last year. You said 2026 will be your six-figure
yeah,
year.
see, like I was like here, like I
You
am so
called it, dude.
stubborn.
You got
I
it.
am
You got it
I
called
am so
out.
stubborn that I was like I had almost quit and I'm like no, I will not let this thing beat me. And then I came back, clawed my way out of that hole
What'd you
and
say that
then
you said you wanted to choose a few tickers,
yeah, it's that
yeah,
easy.
and learn how they move,
It's that
and
easy.
then get aggressive when you have your
Yeah,
low RSIs. Dude,
it's
it's
that
like
easy, man.
it's
It's
literally like the
like
framework we teach now. It was
and
just
that's all it is.
you just had it in your book last year, and
Yeah. And then
nothing's
I did
changing.
it.
We haven't changed our system in a
No.
long time. We just it's crazy how simple we are.
And then if you go up a s- slide now. So this this is showing so this is when like as weird as this sounds, right? In ways like I stopped trying in that I didn't rush a single thing, right? I didn't feel rushed. Um, I kept things simple. So uh, so this year, like I basically only played plays off of TQQQ, and then off of QQQ. So I on our dip here, I went in hard on QQQ calls, and then some other things, but I felt completely confident in finally like being able to escalate my level of like how hard I can swing because it's an index fund, right? And so for me, I'm like, duh, like it's going to go up. And then I don't do any of that wild stuff like I would do in the past of like, like I never do any calls less than 6 months out. So I mean, everything I do is low risk, low risk. I hate risk. I've been there, I've done that. Um, so this, so this actually, it should look like this more in
Yeah,
that. So I started, so as I said, I started with this group. It's been about 3-ish years. I think I joined with about, um, 70 grand. And then I had that thing built up fast. I mean, because like everything, it was just running, 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 right? And then I felt overly safe, like because it was, like easy money. And then April happened, and then I had lost that money, and then I had built it up to the like around the 200-ish uh uh gr- grand mark, and then I withdrew 100 and about 70 grand in January. Yep, there.
paid off your
So in
debts.
January, yep. So in January, I was just like, I'm gonna pay off all this debt, right? And then, so this is even cooler now though, because so I drained it down to about 44 grand, and then now I'm back up at like 98 grand, all because of that one dip and that I swung hard on that dip, and then I stuck like with my plan that I had said way back then. So I went from 40, so I went from 220 down to 44, and then I put all that into what I owed there, right? Like in just debt, like student loans and all that. And then From the bottom of this one last month, I was at 44 grand, and then now I am at about 98 grand. And then I haven't done anything crazy. Like I said, almost like every single play I have done in this last like 8 weeks has been either on QQQ or TQQQ, and CSPs super heavy, and then I can sell those super uh aggressively at the right times because I'm so comfortable in knowing how to roll, knowing how to get a sign, or because like I want the stock, right? And
Yeah.
so there, yeah. So
Well, so yeah, you can go into more depth, but how do you go
sorry.
from like, no, you're fine. How do you go from like about to quit, doing
Oh,
thing, wait, doing things out of the system, but how do you go to like solidifying yourself in the system, but also not like jumping around? Because obviously
yep,
people just want to jump to something else. They want to kind of
exactly.
switch it up. How did you not switch it up for like, I guess for a year from this moment, you're up multiple six figures, you paid off all
Yep.
your debt, you had a $50,000 run here from the bottom. Like, how do you stop yourself from switching it up? And how do you keep yourself dedicated to just a couple tickers and focus? Because I see it like in the chat even today. I mean, let's look at the chat today. How many people are freaking out about the markets? Like, it's just, yeah, it's just wild how we misview like the discounts and the opportunities. So how do you keep yourself like dedicated and focused, and more importantly, excited about, and not
Yeah.
as fearful as um in these market moments where it's dropping?
Yeah. So I made every mistake that I think that you can make. And I now hate risk. Like I hate risk. Um, and like what we do and what I do is so passive and so easy that it's like, why would I do anything else? I mean, like like I do make a full-time income off of my off of this, but I have some other work I do, like because it takes so little time each week, like that I
Yeah.
have all this extra time that like if I didn't do other things I'd be bored. So I love being I love the boring plays that we do. I stick with it because I mean it works. Like I've tried all of the other things, and like it's the way to not have to like lose sleep and to like worry about worry about if we get a drop. It's like, who cares, you know? Like the worst case scenario is that I'm gonna own an awesome stock. Like, oh no.
Yeah, it's so simple when you say it like that.
Well, it's the truth.
You got
Like
this like get this monkey mindset sometimes. It's like things drop. Oh, it's red. Freak out. Like, no.
if
Well,
you look,
think about the
yeah,
steps of the dominoes. Like if it's
yeah,
red, if it's red, it doesn't even pass the next domino step of I have to own it. Like it literally is
no.
just it's nothing bad can happen once it turns red still. Like it takes a while to flip the other dominoes of the wheel.
And then especially, so the biggest difference that changed things for me is that I picked those 3 to 5 stocks that I love, and then I study them. Like I know exactly how they move. Well, of course, it's not exactly right. I know how they move. And I mean, I'm just robotic, like I don't even think about it anymore. If we have a day where it's red, boom, I'm gonna sell my CSPs. if we go down even more, I'm gonna sell even more, and then I just relax. Like I kick back.
Yeah, I mean I think the core principle of every interview here today was like Renuka says, do your research. She
Yep.
picks out stocks she completely understands. Jason picks out pretty much one stock last year he completely understands. And then you pick out a couple stocks you completely understand so that you don't have this fear when things go bad.
Yep.
That's literally next level stuff. I mean, that's the secret sauce of like, cool, you can hit 9 winning trades in a row, but can you go deep? Can you make a lot of money? That's the next level. And that's the difference between you guys and people just kind of learning as a beginner. There are spread 10 trades or they're in things that they're losing sleep over in some cases because they haven't really flushed out the full idea in their head.
Yep.
So it's been a amazing transformation over the last year, man. And I love you in the chat. I love you sharing like just real raw advice that people need to hear.
Well, it's like I said, man, like I've made every mistake I feel that you can make. And I mean, like if I can help even one person not feel like that pit in their stomach, I I am happy. And I mean, like you said, like the biggest thing I see in our group is that people think it's more complex and more challenging than it is. Like this strategy is so passive that you should be bored and you should be bored. And then it's like it sounds insane. Okay, so I'm gonna earn all this money and then like I am whining like because I'm bored. What? Like no. Like be bored and just like relax and just like sit back and earn those checks. Like it's that easy.
I know it's so fun. If anyone's in the chat, you could drop a question. We'll finish up with questions with Jeremy,
I
and then
can't see the chat on my end.
I'll tell you the
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
After Jeremy is going to be the big dog, which I'm very excited to hear. Adam's going to share his multi-million dollar weeks, his multi-million dollar year.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I don't even know what the heck Adam does, but I'm pretty pumped. But yeah, dude, let's see what questions we got. Uh, oh yeah, I mean, you could expand upon, just the mindset. This came to my mind, just that you said to me, you don't mind having a third kid. Like it feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a fun thing instead of stressful financially, like to
absolutely.
be able to do that. You want to share just that,
Yeah.
recent,
So
yeah.
so you know, I always like when I first joined, like I thought like I had like the mindset of, like I want to be rich, right? Rich, 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 I want all of these like zeros. And then after I am now at a place where I'm like or where I am uh financially free, like it's nothing like I thought that it would be in that the freedom to me is time. Time is worth more than anything I could ever earn. Like the time that I can spend and go on these trips with our kids and the time that, like I can spend with them and to parent and to just enjoy life. And I want uh uh one more kid here. And then like the fact that like we can have that talk like without even having the discussion about if we can afford that. I mean, like that's nothing I could have even imagined. Like the freedom the freedom is the biggest thing that I value in this whole thing. It's not even like the money, it's the freedom to just just like spend that time with my family, you know? Like I don't value shiny things. Like I value that quality time, and this has given me that.
Yeah, and the other thing you said is like wealth was like an idea that never seemed achievable,
Yeah.
like not even like graspable to you, but you felt wealth for the first time.
Yeah, and like I've been in in my life, I've been in line at a food shelf, like I have been in in many years where I was struggling, scraping by. I didn't know like how I would make ends meet, I had a kid and all of that. And then, like I just hustled, and then like it's surreal, like me looking back. If you would have told me that I would be where I am now, I would have been like, yeah, right. Like it's just so it feels so out of reach, and then it seems like so unachievable. But then you get there, and you're like, huh, well, it wasn't actually, like if I can do it, anybody can. Like I'm nothing special,
You're
I'm just
special,
very
dude.
stubborn, I'm just very
That that's
stubborn.
that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You're very very special, very stubborn. And yeah, you didn't give up, which is the key,
No.
man. You kept pushing through a tough loss,
Yeah.
a boring system. It was so boring.
Love it. Love it.
Dang, dude. So I didn't know you were like on the other end of the spectrum, completely struggling.
Absolutely.
And now I mean, you felt both sides of it at this point.
Man, like I said, like I have been like like on both ends, and then it's like I try to share that like with everybody in our chat too, and just to show and to just like give that hope, like I hope that somebody on here, like if I can help anybody on here, even one of you, and then like you join and you feel this freedom and this, I mean, if like I can help even one of you, I would be just overjoyed, like it's nothing, like I'm not getting paid a cent for this right now. Like I'm speaking because I want to help people achieve their goals too, like, and then like you can, like, you just got to sign up, and then you've got to invest in yourself. I'll say one last thing, that the best thing that I ever did was invest in myself, because I paid, and then I now have a lifelong skill to generate income forever, because I I put money in on myself, and then you're gonna make money. So that's the best thing I've ever done, hands down.
Damn, dude. Making me cry.
No, like I mean it, like I don't sugarcoat. I don't, like I don't I I mean it, man. Our kids, I just planned another trip in a month here, and we are gonna go on on a trip again here, and then our kids are like, I want to help choose the Airbnb, and then it's just like I never had that as a kid. Our kids, like I'm giving my kids, the life that I only dreamed about, and I mean it's I can't even say how thankful I genuinely am, like it's changed everything.
Oh man. Whew, I'm gonna take a little break.
Yeah. And guys, like I'll say one last thing here, okay? So like Matt here, like who you see here is who he is. You know, like I've been around Matt now for years now. And I mean, like this is who he is. You know, like he genuinely cares. And I mean, he shows up every day and like he's gonna do everything he can. Like he has a team like that is phenomenal. All of them genuinely care and they've been in the struggle and they're going to give you everything they've got so that you will succeed. And then I'm there too, you know, like I'm going to help you out too. So, I mean, you invest in yourself. It's the best money you'll ever spend, hands down.
Oh man, dude. So happy to see you succeed. You're hearing it live is just nuts. It's just so amazing. You're like the biggest transformation, more importantly, like life impact I've ever just heard it one on one. I mean, I
Thanks, man.
talk to people that make 100K and it's like nothing to them, but this is the most meaningful
No,
100K
and
I've ever heard. Like
thank you.
this is 100K that makes me super appreciative that I do this.
Oh, and you should be, man. I mean, like, you know, like I I was I didn't know how to put it into words, right? And then I just kind of like now I just kind of like started speaking and I believe in it fully. So
You're amazing.
invest in yourself. That's all I've got to say.
I mean, this is the life changing stuff. That's
Hmm.
just incredible. I mean, people not being able to pay for food, like paying off
Yep.
their debt. Like I
Yep.
had, it's nice, like people getting a nice new extra rental house and such. But man, this is really like
Yeah.
transforming.
I
So
s- I slept on my floor for months, you know, like I
yeah,
bought our daughter a bed and then I couldn't afford a bed and so I bought her a bed and I was on our floor, you know, so it's crazy. I'll share more though at some other point though.
yeah. Well, I'll get you to the Texas event in December and whatever it
Yeah.
takes, I'll get you there and love to have you share on stage. Dude,
All right, man.
that'd be
I will
epic.
be there. I'll be
You'll
there.
get your award and everything.
Cool.
All right, well, I'm gonna bring on whew.
Breathe,
I'm
man, breathe.
gonna bring on Adam and then Daniel, and should be wrapping things up today. So let me see if I have any questions for you while while I check the chat. Um should be good.
All right. Well, I'll be on I'll be there, you know. If you join, I'll be on there, so you can ask me all you want.
Yeah, he'll be in the chat, everybody. Give a thumbs up, give a fire emoji for Jeremy here in
All right,
the
guys.
YouTube stream. Happy to have you. I didn't expect you to top top the interviews, but you killed it, man.
All
Amazing to
right.
hear this live. I'm gonna save this and show it to my wife later. She's gonna
No,
be
man, it's
my
because of you, dude. It's because of you. So,
let's keep it going, brother. You got a lot more things to click off here, and we're pumped to see them.
all right, guys.
All right, brother. I'm gonna bring Adam in, and we'll we'll see you in the Discord.
Okay. See you later.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Okay. Back. I think we'll take a Q&A break here. You guys can ask me questions. I think I'd said Adam could be on at 1:15. I'll bring Adam on now, actually. Let me bring Adam on, guys. Give me 2 minutes here to get a different t-shirt. Getting a little hot after that interview. Okay. All right. We got Adam coming up next. Adam is a total jokester. This is not a picture of Adam, obviously. He's holding a cigar and a chicken wing in the same hand. But Adam, a very seasoned trader, I think, at the highest tier of risk and execution. He's crushing some wild things that I'd love to dissect. Let me overview kind of what I teach here. Basically, what I teach is like the layup, and I call it the layup. And you eventually like do enough layups, you shoot enough 3-pointers, you you get good enough at the 3-pointer, you take some practice shots at a buzzer beater. Like, we consider option selling like the layup. It's easy, it's repeatable. But a buzzer beater is tough. It's tough as nails, right? You have to be putting in tons of practice shots, tons of hours in the gym. You have to visualize it. You have to execute it in the moment. Like, the buzzer beater is like a day trade. It's like a $90,000 day trade. It's even swing trading a stock at some points. Swing trading stock is not easy. It's swing trading these leveraged ETFs. So I had a record month for me personally, 250K, because I focused on stock and leaps. The market was frothy. It was a good market to take up your risk a couple notches. And that's what we call the buzzer beater moments. The game 7 shots where, you have to put it on the line, and you have to, there's that moment you have to rise to. There's certain moments in the market you want to rise to the occasion. Adam's a good example today of the buzzer beater trader. He rose to the moment of this AI bubble, and a lot of higher end trades. He's been crushing because of that. So we'll bring him on next. All right. So give Adam a thumbs up in the chat. He's gonna pop on here. Maybe a couple minutes, but I'll be here a second. This is a wild story of, I think, 500K to $6 million. So 1,000% return. Unreal, just unreal stuff that I've never seen. That has been somewhat due to what we do in some way. It's even slightly would be interesting to hear how we can learn from this. So real cool interview. And then Daniel's up next. And then I'll hang out for like a little bit, do a Q&A. All right, Mr. Adam, here he comes. What's up, Adam?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, brother. Thanks.
Hey, Matt, how are ya?
Good, brother. Thanks for popping on. I really am pumped to hear all this.
Yeah, you've been killing it on the cash secured put side.
Yes, and I'd like to hear how
It's
you
pretty
take.
awesome.
I'd like to hear how you take some of our knowledge and kill it with what you're doing. So I don't really know most of this. I don't have any insights on what you've morphed our system and used, but I'd
I
love to hear you kind of chat a little bit. Maybe start with your background.
it's no different than what you're doing, except I some of the profits ran away, right? You said put some of the profits to work on leaps and shorter term things, and you yourself have made some nice 5-figure single day, couple of hour trades. So
Yeah.
I learned from the best.
So you did trading during the dot-com bubble. You want
Yeah.
to share what that was like? You want to share
Oh, it was
kind of
horrible.
your background?
Yeah. I got into financial kind of investing stuff in the 90s because I'm a nerd and I like math. So as a good math student and I like computers, and so I'm old. So I started programming back in 1984, I think, same year as the George Orwell novel title. Um, so yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like when I started, but like I'm trying to keep relevant stuff for here for people that might be trading.
Sure.
Like statistics and odds were pretty good. I like card games from a very young age because of probabilities and yeah. I think my dream was always to have a system. I knew that like investing and trading is a systematic thing, and because I'm a programmer, I knew that most of what I was trying to do could be automated. Now, unfortunately, back in the .com days for retail investors, that was hard to do. If you can imagine, I had to call a broker to say I need these calls on Cisco. What can you get them to me for?
Yeah.
Right? And so I rolled a bunch of leaps, not even leaps. I like your term hops on Cisco during the .com
Dang.
sort of up and coming time. So if you go back to Cisco to 98, 99, I don't know.
Yeah, just
Do we
past the
have data that far back? Am I a dinosaur? Does it show a little dinosaur at the
we
back of
just
the chart
passed the highs. I know we
with
just
a name
cranked.
of Adam below it?
This looks like the Bitcoin when I was
Where's the? I don't see the date. Hold on.
I
You see
got
the
the
date
dates.
on
This
there?
is 1998, 1999,
Oh
2000.
yeah, sorry. The stupid zoom bar is in the way for me here. I gotta make it full screen. Okay. Yeah. 98, 99. You see all those things all the way up to 2000. Those were the days. Kind of like what we're experiencing here. And I actually think it's better what we're experiencing here because it kind of transcends the connectedness of data. Like this was people getting online, just the idea that computers could be connected
Yeah.
with a network cable across the world was crazy. Um, Now we're having that same kind of revolution for how information's related. So we have access to all the information, but there's so much to like make sense of it. So AI I see is a very similar boom, and I honestly think we're like in a 96, 97, 98 era at best. I think the best days are yet to come, but as you can see, there's some pullbacks there, right? Got that pullback. You got one just at the beginning of 99, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely it's not a smooth road. So yeah, I mean, and of course, I didn't want to trade my entire portfolio, and then I really wanted to manage risk. I wanted to be able to hedge the gains that I had. So be able to buy a put instead of just be long on something and try to time, your way up. But, a disclaimer here, everyone's a genius in the bull market. Like, you have to be pretty stupid to lose money in that kind of a market.
Yeah.
And I think the trick is to know when to, get out of the way. And part of the dot-com crash was me just kind of not getting back into it. Not that I was actually actively trading at the time. I During the dot-com bubble, you got to realize there's a lot of work in tech and IT. So that was also the time to put my career forward, and I sort of put trading on the back burner and ended up being, full in on building my business, building my consultancy, all of that kind of stuff. So, I kind of didn't get hit by the dot com bubble burst. I had a good time and made good money there, and it made me able to kind of weather the storm of getting into professional consulting. I was too young to kind of be the older consultant. I mean, back in what was it, 2000, I was only 26. So it was, quite, still young to go into an office and say, hey, I'm going to be a consultant for your large company and tell you how to improve your systems, right? I still had to get experience. But at the beginning, I mean, since I was a kid, I loved the computer stuff, and that kind of held me through. So then, fast forward to 2000. Actually, one of those junctures was to, like, how can I marry the two sides? I love automation and computers, and I love investing. And so I had an arbitrage system. I think we talked about this privately, Matt, back in 2000, 1999.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to get automated trading systems in those days. Like, if you really wanted to do some sort of like an arbitrage on like option chains or something like that, you needed to have a system where you could just deploy it at servers at the exchange, right? And it was totally unfair. Later, you
Yeah.
hear about these different exchanges having access to information before other exchanges, and they're kind of arbitraging between one another. And so
It's the
now that's
same thing with like Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was on multiple exchanges, they would
oh,
flip the
that was even
price.
worse.
That was like just a couple years ago, the inefficiencies in
Yeah.
even Bitcoin.
Yeah, but like it was really bad in like official like markets where the SEC is involved and all that, so you
Yeah,
couldn't
that's
have that.
terrible.
And so I think like when you go to data centers that host trading systems, or at least exchanges, they have like spools of network wire sitting beside the server so that the signal has to travel legally the same amount of wire that the other exchange. Like, I'm not kidding. That actually
Yeah,
happened, right?
that makes
Forget the
sense.
guy's
Yeah.
name. There's a good YouTube video on this. Like, you can Google this and find out about how they tried to make it fair. But anyway, long story short,
So
I
yeah, you're
needed,
building a product,
yeah, so I
and the
needed 10
market
million
crash.
bucks
You
of
you can
investor money to get this going. It just wasn't going
yeah,
to happen. But it did launch, my IT career and all that. So,
love it.
um, and
And
that was
then
really good. And so
so that
I
gave
was
you the training wheels to kind of tackle this market, right?
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, I knew that that's kind of what I wanted to always head into, and I saw all the other IT contracts as like a stair step way to actually get into a financial institution to do systems for them, to actually be involved in writing systems. And the closest I came to that was working across the street from a guy that was working on some of those things. And part of the way that I write software is very similar to accounting and how trading systems account for information, which is a ledger, immutable ledger. Like, you keep a track of all your trades, your entries, your exits. How an exchange keeps track of all the orders that come in and out, get canceled, get put on. Right, it's an audit trail. It's very accounting like. And it just turns out that that's the best way to write all software. Just most of the industry doesn't. So I've always been hunting for that. And then I kind of, because of that attitude of like, we're the best way to automate systems is through accounting, through like being, a trader mentality, keeping track of everything that's moving over time. That kind of that led me to develop a better way of specifying software. And well, the results show for themselves, right? This is an anomaly. This is .com 2.0 in my eyes. And my attitude is that make hay when these bull markets are there, because you're going to pay for it in the bear markets and sideways markets. You're going to get hit upside the head. You don't know when the top's there, and it's gonna, like, slap all the profits out of your hand
Yeah.
very quickly. And so I'm mostly cash, when it's like full greed in the on the the greed indicators. I want to be all cash, sitting there waiting with capital to deploy, like you said, on
Yeah.
red days. But you look at that crash in .com, you redeploy capital on red days, you'd be broke pretty quick.
I know.
So
Dude, the first pullback from here to here was like 50% in 3 months. And that was just the
yeah,
beginning. That was just the beginning
and
of
that
it.
was just the beginning, exactly. So don't fight the trend.
Jeez,
People will
that's
the key,
nuts.
when I watch a whole bunch of other stuff, like on especially the mathematics of all this, and like it seems like all the quant traders, they need to understand primarily first whether the market is trending or whether it's sideways, and then if it's trending, if it's up or down, and don't put anything that goes the wrong way. But I personally want to be delta neutral as much as possible, where I have a long and a short. So
Yeah.
like if I'm looking for a dip in the market, like right now, maybe there's someone buying some Nvidia up, which I don't think they will today, but we have my Hail Mary shots come out of these kind of crazy situations on 1 DTEs. And
Jeez. Well, to break down for me, just because I don't even know, you have this like confluence of knowledge where you've traded a bubble.
yeah,
Um, you know how to buy options, obviously, and
and sell them.
we have momentum right now. So what do you morph these into to produce like a mil or $2 million like month? Like what else what goes into that decision or that one trade?
Well, the one trade was, I mean, that surprised me. Honestly, I didn't think that Micron would gap up and continue to blast into the hours like it did. Honestly, I was already down on the Micron. I think it was a 2 week trade or a 3 week trade, and it was into the last week, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like down 80 or 90, but I'm looking at how Micron was doing, and it was lagging SanDisk, I think, or just the entire market, with oil being kind of beaten down. So I knew there was, Micron swings up quite high as a SanDisk. I'm like, you know what? This is one of those lotto plays, and on like a seven-figure account, putting in 28K, you got to put it in perspective. Like I wouldn't put 28K on a six-figure account
Yeah.
for a lotto trade. So the numbers look impressive, but you just have to think about percentages. It's just like poker. You know the rules of poker. It's just different stakes. You're either betting $1 and $2, or you're betting $100 or $200, and the chip stacks that everyone starts with are different. So you got to kind of
Ooh.
think about it that way. But there's a couple of reasons that I did that. I kind of look at, if there's something that's out of whack with how the sector's going, with how, if that's a pullback in the general trend of the market, the sector, and all that. And it kind of ticked all those things off for me in my head. VST is another one that happened like that. It was a 1 DTE that opened up for 6,500% the next day. Now my
60.
account was much smaller back then, but it still was the same equivalent of, like, increasing your portfolio by, all of a sudden your portfolio jumps by 20% because one of these lottos hit. And when you look at something that's going to go $1 million plus, with a 28K play, it's, it's nice to be rewarded, and it's why there's a couple of things that I kind of don't agree with the industry, like the investment mentality. It's like a lot of people are very much against buying high premium, and also when you're selling options, a lot of people are against selling like low IV. Um, I kind of I don't follow that to a T. There's been a study, I think some of the other guys online, like Tasty Live guys or whatever, they did a bunch of back testing, and they found that high IV actually predicts further movement than you
Oh
would think
yeah.
from the IV itself.
Yeah.
And conversely, you also can find plays where like low IV is one of the safest places to sell premium because the IV kind of predicts that it's not going to move. So there's no crystal ball, but it's just kind of funny to pay attention to where the traditional rules don't always apply, and they can actually help you to be contrarian, and you'll go further. Like, who would go long Micron, right? Like, it's stupid. It's got such high IV, but I went long 28K into it and ended up with seven figures in 2.5 trading hours, which is insane. Right?
Well, for the people that like we try to keep doing CSPs and we have them graduate to like this, maybe
Yeah.
this type of stuff. This is
Yeah, and
like
I grew the
this is
account this
like
way.
four this is
CSPs,
like
right?
four graduations after.
Yeah.
But like what would you tell the people that are like, I guess in the beginning of CSPs, what frameworks do you use from the CSP program to kind of morph into
Yeah,
like
don't.
mini TP?
I would never advise anyone that's taking your program to do what I'm doing. I would advise them to do what I'm doing or something similar. I think everyone finds their own
Yeah,
secret sauce
exactly.
and what plays with their lifestyle when they're awake. Is someone awake at 6:30 in the morning on Pacific time? So whatever, 9:30 Eastern. Are they awake to analyze the market, look at what happened overnight, and get a thesis going and try and prove yourself right or wrong with money? And that's kind of what I would say is anyone that's taking any kind of education, especially yours. I mean, your advice is spot on about where the RSIs are, and it's calculated, which is great. And so, in terms of minimizing risk and exposing yourself to options and the leverage they provide, I think it's wonderful. I think you can do a lot way better with what you're doing than just buying out an index or buying some stocks and throwing a dartboard at the wall. Essentially, you're collecting a lot of premium, even if you may make mistakes. Like, the time is working for you the whole time, which is what someone that's beginning needs.
Yeah. But
They need to have that
when
cushion.
when would they like what would you say like start buying options, and what's the best way to start? Like, because this is obviously like a
When you have
higher.
enough to consider play money, like when
Yeah.
you understand that you've beaten the S&P, like, you're, instead of hiding, like holding the index and whatever, you've already beaten those percentages, and that difference you can account for like a significant amount that you could cover some larger amount of money to be assigned to, because we make mistakes. I sometimes leave a call I bought till expiry, and I get distracted by something or something comes up, and I'm left holding an option that was way out of the money, and I held too many of them, and I get assigned. Like, the worst one was getting assigned 12 million of Nvidia. um, that was like, I looked on Saturday morning, I'm going, what the there's like 55,000 shares of Nvidia in my account. What is going on?
Well, so they take CSPs,
Yeah.
they have play money. What's
Yeah.
like the top three plays they go for next? Like, how do they decide where to put the play money?
I think they should start watching levels.
Key
Um,
levels?
key levels, but also like the gamma flip levels, where option interest is highest at which strikes on major indices like S&P and QQQs, and pay attention to the fact that these are magnets for price, and then don't try to buy dips or whatever. See if something's coming off a certain level and the sentiment is negative. Put a position on there. I also, because I can get called away because I'm running a business. I don't have a stop loss. So a lot of the positions I'll have, I need to be so sure that I need that call to be, I'm okay with it expiring worthless.
Yeah, it has to make like 300%.
Because on the flip side, I make 300, 600, 6,000% on those.
Let's simplify this for everyone here listening.
Yeah.
So MU, would you rather someone new buying options play a breakout level or a support level? What do you think's the better move that they focus on?
In that trending market, because okay, well, I'm very biased for MU. I think it's incredibly undervalued compared to a lot. I would play the breakout. I
Yeah,
would say, when you have that first confirming candle just under your cursor right now, sorry, just over your cursor right now, your
yeah.
mouse cursor, that candle. The other. Oh, it's my cursor. You don't see mine. Three over. The third. You were in the right area. The third one on the breakout. The one that's actually above the breakout.
Yeah,
That guy. That's a confirmation,
yeah,
right? That's above the level, and I know that Micron is undervalued. It's in a sector that's going up. I don't think we're done with spending on AI infrastructure, and memory
sure.
is still in demand. That's when I would put on something short, because I know the momentum is going to be a face ripper, just like it was in .com. And
Yeah,
those face rippers are the ones that are going to go and do that. Look at the previous months, right? August, September, October, November, December. That thing just moves, and then all of a sudden it's sideways. So the minute I see escaping sideways movement, boom, right? I mean, we'll see the same thing probably on Nvidia this week because of the earnings. It's been sideways for 6 months.
yeah.
It's
So
about to get 6 trillion market cap. So there's a potential there. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. They might have, probably have excellent earnings, but they probably won't have the guidance that everyone's expecting. Or, there's always something like that, or that the market's just too hot right now for them to be surprised by anything anymore, and it'll pull back, right? So,
I mean,
however,
what
given its
you
history, do you have a large breakout there? I don't know. Do we have a 6 trillion, 7 trillion market cap over the next year?
I mean, what you just said is so important that, again, like we just sold a put on Soxel today, and people are nervous. It's like a red put already. What you just
Yeah.
said is so important. Like, we're not going to stop spending money on this stuff, and the valuations are in your mind still cheaper. So, like, why sweat a CSP? But more importantly, like at some point in this dip, you got to buy you got to buy the dang option because of that thesis, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about having a thesis, but it's also like, buy when on the red days, like you said. I kind of take that to a long term outlook as well. I want to be like, to be honest, like I swung down all the way down to seven, just under a mil, because I kept buying the war dip on with using leaps.
Yeah,
And so I was looking at, all my positions going down minus 60%, but I knew there were leaps, and I knew that the war is a temporary news situation. As we look at the Iraq war, Afghanistan, all the other ones, I knew that this is historically speaking, these are buying opportunities when you
sure.
have a huge news reaction like that to what's going on.
Yeah, all the
And then, of
time.
course, all those planted bombs exploded, pardon the pun, but like in those leaps. And then, of course, as the market went further, I stopped buying leaps. I started investing in 6 months out, and went even further. I went 3 months out. And I think in the last day before the actual spike, whatever was left in my account, I was putting in like a 14-day call on certain things. Yeah. And then, of course, looking at what the valuation of tech was and all that, it's about to, whether it took a long time or not, didn't really matter for me. Those last ones that were just kind of, if there's a bounce, it's going to be now. I better make sure it pays for it. I started to adjust that leap strategy to be a little bit more diversified. So instead of just going 100% on a leap, I'll take a portion of it, maybe 20%, and put in a 3 month out, another 10%, a 1 month out, and I'll take the last 10% and do on a dip by an 8 day, 7 day, maybe sometimes a 3 day if the dip warrants that.
Yeah,
But that entire, instead of being a complete leap, is now got a bunch of traps for different timelines. And of course, if I am right, and one of those initial dips was something that was going to get bought back up, and I come back 2 days later and it's up 700%. Well, that paid for my other two, didn't it? Right? Like the shorter one, and now I'm de-risking them. Now I know that those positions are free, right? And as I get
We'll
closer
talk
to the
about
expiry of the 3 month one, all of a sudden I know that, oh, I can now pay for that leap. So it's kind of like your get out at 100% and keep riding the remaining, but a little bit more proactively with the different expiries along the way. And I don't have to buy them on the same day. Like I can pick, okay, this looks like a dip. I'll buy, maybe I'll buy the initial 40% of the leap. Just doesn't really matter. The fluctuations in price from day to day, week to week won't matter that much for a leap that's a year out. But then I'll wait and I'll see if there's a pullback, a nice red day, then maybe I'll deploy more capital on like the 3 month out. And then I'll wait another one of, maybe I was wrong and I get another dip. Maybe I have 2 days that are just brutal red. I probably on the third day or second day, I'm probably going to dip into the 1 month. And then,
well, so with this run,
yeah.
how did you know to like exit, hold? Like, do you just hold the expiration, or how would this?
So that's the other thing that I like buying shorter term stuff when you know what you're doing, is that you're
You have a window
forced
to
to
exit, yeah. But you
there's
had
no point
three,
in timing it.
but you had 3 and
Your hand
6
is forced to
months.
sell the damn thing because it expires in 3 to 6 days. If you have one DTE, you got to sell tomorrow,
Yeah, but you have
right?
3.
So
But
I can't trust
for you,
myself sometimes to exit at the right time. So I want to be statistically put myself in a situation where my undisciplined self will get forced to get out. But
I
because
like
my
it.
initial position was statistically better, then I'm okay with letting lazy Adam fumble the trade the next day, right? Or get stuck with a whole bunch of NVIDIA over the weekend. Should have held that too for a couple of days. But anyway, I
Well,
got rid of
what about
it before market opened.
the 3 and 6 month options? When did you scale them after this like 8 week rally for the markets?
So I tend
How do you,
to roll the leap parts at 300 to 400%, roll them up and out. I did that on Google last year.
that's smart.
Again, because I'm in tech, I feel more inclined to trade tech. Like I'm short a lot of times in the market, very unpopular things. I'll short Apple and I'll short Palantir and I'll short
Yeah.
Tesla when others are longing it. And I kind of want to look at the valuations and get myself sort of delta neutral. I know that it's kind of silly talking about delta neutral when you're buying calls, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to have the market direction kind of offset. Kind of like if the market's going to go down, I know that Tesla's going to get slaughtered. If the market's going to go up, I know that Micron will rip my face off. So I kind of want to be long Micron, short Tesla, because my theory is that Micron's severely undervalued, Tesla is severely overvalued,
Sure.
or Palantir or some of these other ones. So I kind of come in with both positions, and especially in your tops like we are now, where like today we just got destroyed. And nothing's working out in terms of plays if you're long anyway.
Yeah,
Well, actually, no.
we're doing the same thing.
DDOG is and BIS is, but anyway.
Yeah, look at
So
MasterCard. Yeah, we got a lot of our older plays looking good again.
yeah, defensive stuff right now for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I try to listen to other sectors. Like I played some silver and gold. I shorted gold when everyone was longing it, and that was after I saw the reports of people lining up around the block in Australia. What that was over the weekend. I'm like, what the hell? There's like a 5 block line to buy gold bullion in like Sydney and and all these
Oh.
places, and I'm like, okay, what I'm doing on Monday is I'm buying some puts. And that was like one of the nicest drops. I think that was like 500%.
Yeah,
A
because
very
more
contrarian move.
people were being ridiculous with
When
it.
you just see like stupidity, yeah, especially on something like that. I missed the silver. Like once silver hit 100, I mean, that was a layup, and I was asleep at the wheel.
Well, so
Um,
you do what I do. I started doing like evergreen shorts with my long put or with my long calls.
yeah,
I
I
think
like to be.
the puts and the calls is like the bread and butter for a portfolio now, especially at high RSIs. I love that strategy totally.
Yeah, you gotta have like you gotta kind of have to have like the large institution mentality of like, how do you have something that's going to offset your losses? But it's kind of different with short-term expiry stuff because you're waiting for that explosion one way. Like Adobe got tanked last week, right? And while everything was going up, I was short on Adobe and made 240% while everything else also rose, which was crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I'll take
Sometimes you
those.
get paid on
Even
both
though the market
sides.
actually didn't dip, Adobe still dipped because I know it's a counter like software versus hardware problem these days, right?
Yeah.
I do have a negative opinion of a lot of the software, the services side. Like I don't believe that Adobe will make it out of this. I actually don't believe Microsoft will make it either. I think they've floundered quite a bit. I also think that Apple relies too much on their brand, and they're not actually doing anything. They're competing on rice. Like, hey, they have these M chips and all that, and they're acting like unified memory was their invention, which it wasn't. Like most of the things they do, so they're a brand name thing. And as we get into like the AI age, people are talking to their devices. There's no place for the shiny logo to shine, right? So all of these I have these views that no one else has, and I put my money where my mouth is. And sometimes the contrarian is right, but when the contrarian's right, it's incredibly right. That's where you get
Oh
your,
yeah. Yeah, totally.
your $6,000 or 6,000% proof that you're right. So, um, and the other thing I would say is that once you have enough money that you will play, don't treat it like you have to hold it. You have to size right, but trade as often as you possibly can. You got to stare at the charts, learn the feel of theta decay over a 1 DT versus a 0 DT versus an
Yeah.
8-day or 7-day DT. Get a feel for how the option pricing reacts to actual underlying price movements, because you'll notice there's some weird lags where the actual option market has the true value of that and the ticker isn't, especially when you have, I don't know, what was it, MU? Someone was buying a ton of puts, another person was buying a bunch of calls. And so there's so much money sitting in the contracts, not the actual underlying, that if you think about what the open interest is on the contracts and the options, you can mentally adjust what the price should be, right? I also did a couple of like custom indicators that I made for myself. Like I wanted to see what the volume weighted largest candle is so far in the day. So that was I vibe coded a little script I just dumped into TradingView that basically draws a line from the highest bar. If you look at the price difference times the volume in it, what's the heaviest bar? And if it's a green bar, you draw a green line all the way throughout the day for that. And that acts as either resistance or
That's cool.
it's kind of like a poor man's,
And it's like
you
a
know,
volume profile.
it's sort of a volume profile, but also it kind of reflects what you see in options volumes. I found, so it's a kind of like a quick back of the napkin kind of drawing style of showing where those are, and it's pretty neat to do that. I also have like a volume indicator at the bottom, which shows volume that most likely is an institutional. So they go yellow to red, those big volume bars, and have like a threshold. So they don't actually look, they don't represent the actual volume of those bars, but they color code and they show up or down. Pretty much that's it. After a certain point, they start to go, and that's once they've entered the institutional level of buying or selling. So I always see at the beginning. Today is a perfect example. Nvidia had like 3 or 4 of those indicators for me red, and that told me if I was playing Nvidia today, I would be buying puts on it, even 0 DTEs, because there's 3 of them in a row, meaning like this thing's going to get slaughtered. And that was after, and I did that on the 5 minute. So after seeing like 5 of these giant bars on Nvidia, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think I should just be net short all day. And
Well,
then stupidly, I went in trying to pick the low an hour and a half ago, but whatever.
walk us through like week to week, like how many trades are swing versus day trades? How many trades are like high conviction, like 3 month outs? Like what's the cadence of making money and
Yeah,
what are you trying
it's
to
all over the
accomplish?
place. It's all over the place. I think it's depending on where we are in the market. I'm trading a lot different than I was a month ago right now, simply because we're at all-time highs. We're stretched quite a bit. So
Yeah.
like I said, I'm mostly cash. Whereas a month and a half ago, I was 0% cash at one point. I'm
Yeah,
just
for
like,
sure.
it's in It's in God's hands now. I can't do anything now, and I was fine with it. But yeah, so
So you're
it changes
flipping, you're
from that.
flipping your strategy recently,
Yeah, you have to
and
adjust. You have to
being more
be
reactive with your cash.
you have so the bread and butter to always go, which is what you're doing and teaching us that, and I still do that. I still sell cash secured puts. The last one I did was SanDisk when it went horizontal. That was amazing. I had to roll it a couple of times, but SanDisk, because the IV was so friggin' huge,
Yeah, it's
i
huge.
I printed a ton of money off of SanDisk, going sideways, but then switched as soon as I stopped selling the CSPs, because first of all, I made enough money, even if that was my only strategy at first. There was enough money to show to see that, okay, it's going to continue the rip up. So I don't want to be collecting 4% a week if the stock's moving 15%, 20% a week. I'd rather have
Oh
you know
yeah.
a 14-day DTE going up 400% in that week. And the reason I say that is yes, selling the put is safer, but once you have money and you can chase the velocity of money, I like to call it velocity of money. That is the speed of things moving, and you want to load that up with as much leverage as possible, so it just explodes. And I think that trade where it was 28K to 1 mil, if I held on to MU, that would have been a 2 million, because it kept going that day.
Yeah.
But one of the best things that you can think about in terms of I'm jumping all over the place, but pick the nuggets that you want out of this. One of the things is that, once your position's already in the money by 400% or like thousands, just take the money off the table. I don't even leave half. A lot of times, a lot of people will like staircase out of it, like they'll sell half and leave a runner. I'm like, no, I'm very binary, which may be a detriment. Maybe that's something that I'm worse off for, but it's working in the bull market. And so I kind of stick with it. Maybe I can improve. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and maybe I have some things I can be better disciplined at, as I continue. I mean, I'm doing a whole bunch of other things. The nice thing about making some money in the market is that then you can invest in yourself and try new things. I got some machines that can do some back testing and kind of doing a lot of calculations, like these Asus GX10s or whatever, that can do AI and do a whole bunch of other things. And I want to run that on, back testing some data and just making my own experiments. And some of these things are quite easy to program with AI. So yeah, I think you should always try and test your theories and all that, but have a really good, solid go-to strategy, like selling puts, doing the wheel strategy and all that. But be very careful. Like, one of the things I'll say about the wheel is that people get too enamored with it, especially when it's like what we're dealing with now. You can be a bag holder because of the wheel strategy. I think you made a post recently about making sure that you flip out of your losers into something that's making money. Just don't be a bag holder because CSP put you there and you're holding something.
Yeah.
You got to put that capital to work again, and so you got to get that cash back, even though you took a loss, and continue the strategy on something that's up and coming, like maybe healthcare or something. In those areas where you can start to find some gems there, instead of trying to hope that some of these giants that ripped up quite far in tech won't come down and put you again in the same spot. So see, doing the wheel is not without risk. That can, if you
Oh
don't know
yeah.
what you're doing and you're hoping that whatever you bought eventually will do that. I mean, you can sit there and wait for something that, let's say you're doing the wheel on like Robinhood, and you did some CSPs at its height. You're at $80 right now, even maybe less, right? You're stuck. You're stuck and sitting there with that stock that's dropped a ton of a ton of value, and you're going to be a bag holder for what, 2 years? That's no way to make money.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we've been really just now on trying to help people dissect dead capital.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. I mean, one of the things that's hard for people to do, I think I struggle with that, is like, hey, this thing's supposed to go higher. Why is it not? I'll just wait another week. I'll just wait another week. And the whole time, like, you're losing 10%, 20% as the stock's dropping, right?
Versus just being, you could be in something
Just
making
get out.
money.
Like, you get your money back so that you can
Yeah.
redeploy. Take that, lesson, and never trade with a paper account. I think that's one of the worst things people could do, is paper trade. Maybe it's okay if you want to learn how a platform works, but it's one of the most, like,
I'll
it's the
give
worst
you
thing. It's kind of like go tell someone to learn to play poker with like fake chips around the table. You'll never learn how to play poker because you have no skin in the game. The biggest thing is to feel the hurt so you can manage your own emotions. The only thing you're really fighting when you're trading is yourself. And there's
Yeah.
no way to teach that to yourself than to
So
lose badly.
so with your higher end risk taking trades, how does somebody do this, but they are, you know, taking ownership of the full trade? How do they move on from losers? Like, what does that look like?
So, okay, let me do some quick math in my head. What is the responsible level of learning to trade with those 1 DTEs or 0 DTEs or whatever, right? I mean, you did them too. So, people can look to you as well. You know what to do when you see a level and you see
But
Trump, and
like, what I'm saying
you
is,
see
oh,
Elon
what
insult Trump, right? That was another one that was really good.
I'm saying is like someone doing this and taking ownership first. Like, I think, there's a lot of education online where you almost buy the education or watch the video, but you're following the strategy so much that you don't really take ownership of the move or the entry or the plan. It's just like that guy said, do this, I did it. But like every trade you take is, you have to take ownership and learn from it, or else it's like you didn't really understand it and kind of grow.
Yeah.
So how do you develop that ownership, I guess, is the question. Because
So
instead of that confusion
you have
where
to, so to take ownership is, okay, let's say, what I would do is I would take one of your recommendations for a CSP, and I say, I'm going to find a similar company that I think is a better pick, and you should have your own reasons for why it's a better pick. And I'm going to time it, so I'm going to play a call on it instead and see how you do. So it's I take a lot of your CSP recommendations, and I just like, how will I make more money with a 1 DTE on this? If it dips on Thursday, by Friday we'll have another $1,000,000, right? I don't know. maybe it's a good strategy, but you got to realize that when you're doing that the amount of capital you're risking is very small. And when that one trade that ended up working so well, you have to realize that I'm trying to work out what percentage that was of my account. uh that was 0.5%, at best.
yeah.
Probably even less. I don't know.
So you,
I
you,
can't do the
you
math in my head,
if I
but it's
call out
very
a
small.
trade, the cool thing you said is if I call it a trade, you're taking something completely different, which is awesome.
You should, and I think you
I
should
mean, you might
also
even
apply
you
it
might even
to.
short, you might even find a short opportunity with what I call out.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I rarely do that with your stuff. You do too much. The odds are stacked against me to go against your trades. Because you do a lot of the research. Like, it's not just you. I know that you have people suggesting stuff. I'm lurking in there, looking at what people are suggesting, and What's being talked
I don't,
about.
I don't, I don't have anybody working for my suggestions. No, no,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
there's a
much, pretty
community
much,
there, right? And there's a lot of good ideas and a lot of things being brought to light that otherwise you wouldn't have. And so I look for that. I mean, I can't sit there behind the computer all day long looking at 1,000 tickers and programming 1,000 different screeners to have that. Yes, sure, AI may help with that, but in the end, um, I try to see what people are talking about. I try to see what you're talking about. I try to see whether that actually makes sense according to my theory of where things are, what I value, what I think is going to happen in the market, and I then I let that run um, accordingly. So that's the only thing I would say is to take a lead from, still understand that you've put a lot of work into what your recommendations are. And if people are trying to, you know, go on, like I remember VST was a good one. You played VST. That's a good example. That's another big trade. You played VST and you were bullish on it. And I saw it get creamed or go sideways right before the meta announcement. So I don't know what date the meta announcement was. I think it was sometime in the fall or in the spring. There's so many trades I can't remember. But anyway, if someone can look up when the meta deal with VST happened, um, that was on a Thursday evening. So on Thursday day, I think at just half an hour before market close, I bought the one DTE, saying that it just can't continue. I'm sure it'll blip up before the weekend because just like you have fear happening on Fridays, the converse is that people are afraid that they're going to miss out because next week VST or something else might be a lot higher. So there's just as there are people not wanting to hold stuff over the weekend, there's also the fear that like, oh, next week it'll be way higher. So they actually have a fear of not holding it over the weekend over the weekend, right? So it works on both sides, even on Fridays, and we saw that in the run up. So what I did is I bought those, and yeah, that was your, like, VST was on my radar because of you, and I thought there was a better play with the 1 day DTE because I thought that next week people were going to be totally scared of not owning it, and that turned out to be a 6,000% wake up and sell trade. Like it was just half an
that's
hour in the market, right?
insane,
Um,
man.
yeah, really insane stuff. But you got to remember that these are like 1 in 100, so they better pay more than 100 times,
Yeah, for sure.
right? That kind of strategy. It's still P&L in the end, right? You're trying to get the edge by having the odds in your favor, and the easiest way to do that is by selling premium, which is what you're doing. The other part that people have to realize that they have to manage the money and risk after you get assigned, because the price went against you after a CSP. You're stuck in the wheel. The wheel doesn't mean you stay in the same ticker. You could totally rotate out if the market sentiment has shifted and there's other sectors that are moving. Redeploy that same part of the wheel means you're owning something, right? But you can just sell that something and buy something else and then wait for that to go up and
Yeah.
then sell a call on it and just flip the underlying that you're using in the wheel. And not enough people do that, I don't think. They keep stuck. It's like, oh, this is my wheel on Palantir, and it's just always in Palantir, and that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, we had a good example of this is like I rolled a flat or a small loss trade. Like for example, DFEN is we call a small loss trade.
Mhm.
Um, 55 put here, paying like $200. That's 5 grand, so $200. We had Soxel come into a discount today, and that's when I like to flip some of my lower conviction trades into Soxel. And even though you take a small loss, dead capital or even slower capital is worse. You want to
Yeah,
put it in your high conviction capital when it
absolutely.
when it when it
Yeah.
becomes more high conviction, like Soxel today. That $100 put. At this point, you can see it's like if you put that same um, two contracts in, it's like $500 for 30 days out, and then a
Yep.
$1,000 for 60. So
Yeah.
You can
Well,
make
I
your
think once you're
you can
into
make
this, like
tons.
if you're very happy with CSPs and you're trying to do a little more, I think like what I do is I look at other combinations of options trades. So one that I really like um, is the iron condor stuff where you're basically waiting for the price to just finish in a certain range. But then I
Yeah.
also like some of the other things of combining, like putting a butterfly spread at the top and combining it with a diagonal put spread at the bottom. So you really have these two tents over where the price can end up. And I like that one because it plays the fact that volatility increases as price drops. You start to learn what options do with price movement. That's why I said keep watching what the option price does compared to the actual underlying. And you'll notice that you'll have the implied volatility and the prices of the options go up when the price drops of the market, indexes especially and all that. So figuring out, like, you use option strat all the time to show the tents, right? I mean, you use the grid mostly, but I like to do the tent sometimes of like doing that. So I don't know if you have option strat at the ready. But yeah, you can
Well,
start to put
I'm gonna
together
get
some.
I'm gonna get Daniel on here in a couple minutes. So, um, yeah, I appreciate you popping on and
Yeah.
sharing this, Adam. And absolutely record growth and profits for Market Move student. And you set the bar for life. So I appreciate you sharing some of the trades and setups that
Well,
came in here.
on to eight figures, right?
I can't wait. Yeah, we'll celebrate it when it hits there.
Yeah, exactly. I still owe you a beer. Like I said, for
Yeah, dude, come out to Texas for the gala. That'd be epic. And we'd love to celebrate your 7-figure award.
Yeah, well, good luck to everyone. Whenever I post something, I usually reply for a couple of days after to explain myself as to what I did. But I also don't want people. I don't post what I'm doing because I don't want people to um hurt themselves by doing a stupid one DTE when they don't realize I have like 0.1% of my portfolio on it, and they ship 20% of their portfolio into it. So I don't want that out there. So that's why I don't post my trades as they happen.
Yeah.
I hope
But
you
still, like
understand.
you said, like, you're taking 100 bets that are high risk. Like, people have to
Yeah.
take 100 shots to be great at something, and you're gonna have shots that miss, shots that win,
Yeah.
and
And I don't
you have
expect these
to.
returns. I don't expect these returns once we go bearish or sideways. Like, I mean, I'd be happy if that was the case, but
Yeah.
again, this is my learnings from the last .com, the big one that I traded, was that you make hay when there's a bull run, because it has to pay for the painful hard markets that we eventually end up in.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I pushed myself to put a lot more capital in this rally, even after I missed the first 4 weeks. And
Oh, I
yeah.
was missing it too. I mean, I killed my portfolio trying to catch that dip on the war. So
Yeah,
I
you
was
were
ready to go live in a cardboard box in the alley, but luckily things turned out the other way.
I remember I coach Isaac through this iron run. It's the same thing you said, make hay, so iron was here and I told Isaac, let's do leaps, dude. Like, why are you cranking CSPs? We're up 400%. Just do leaps, dude, because it's time to make hay. And he became a multimillionaire with that portfolio run. But man, like,
That's awesome.
you got to recognize when to make hay. I think it's a great analogy and phrase for everybody to figure out. Like, you got to know when to make hay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm going to be stuck a bunch of NVIDIA today again. Oh, well.
All right, I'm gonna get Daniel on, brother. I appreciate you, Adam.
All right.
This has been a
Have a
pleasure.
good one.
And
Thanks for having me on. Good luck, everyone.
yeah, you're the bomb. Appreciate you.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, have a good day, brother.
You too.
All right, shout out to Adam in the chat. If you guys want to give him a thumbs up, give him a fire emoji. We'll get Daniel on for our last interview of the day, and then I will unlock the big bonus for everyone who sat here. And if you're a new student, you're gonna get a nice trial into what we do. Nice test rally for option selling, and get to experience the whole community for a bit. And Daniel's gonna pop on. Mr. Daniel is my baby. Daniel's been the first student I bragged about for years. So excited to have him reshare his story, his background, and kind of give you guys the motivation. What's up, Daniel?
Hey Matt, how are you?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Nice, nice background. I'll give you a little short intro, and then you can start sharing everything about kind of a little bit of what we're saying here, expanding upon it. But basically, from my understanding, from hearing your story, at this point, it's probably 6 or 10 times, but you were with a 2K account, super motivational. Everybody here that may not have a big account, they might be starting from the bottom where you can't sell a put, you can't even get started option selling. So Daniel was there in 2022 or 2021, basically starting this strategy, figuring out how to generate consistency, and he went full time 2022, stayed full time for those last couple years, has been teaching with us, and has hit some, obviously, the milestones we all try to achieve in life. Those 6-figure years, multi 5-figure trades. I mean, the consistency that you believe in, the consistency you've always wanted to figure out. He put that together slowly. I mean, so slowly, going from 2K to 500. So everybody here in the chat, just give Daniel a fire emoji here and hype him up. He's pumped to share after teaching for a whole weekend. But yeah, I mean, you started this journey from losing your job, having a kid coming, and you needed to basically make income a different way while you were transitioning. And that's when you started that $2,000 account. You started moving that account up slowly, $100 a week, $500 a week, just cranking credit spreads versus puts. And then eventually you graduated, started selling puts, created that first income that was full time, and just kept graduating levels then. The dream house, the dream car, the vacation level. You achieved that. The leap level where you're hitting those 20K trades. This was $10,000 here and there. I remember this was just mind blowing to hit 10K in a trade. And now this probably seems very regular. Like it wouldn't shock you to make $10,000 in a trade. So if you want to share a little bit more of those details, I'm going to grab a quick water and I'll let you kind of go into depth here, but we'll spend 30, 40 minutes doing this last interview of the day. I'll let you take it. Appreciate it, Daniel.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, I was working for corporate America in 2020, and with the company for almost 10 years. You worked your way up the ladder, and you get everything from insurance to stock options, everything built up, and then we get bought out by a bigger fish, and then COVID happened at the same time, so it's kind of like a double negative. And I end up getting laid off on the second rounds, and then you went from having a cushy comfort, situation to you lose it all. And I was getting laid off on April 5th, and then knowing that my next son was going to be born on May 20th. It's kind of a humbling situation and trying to figure out what you need to do. So I've always wanted to do something in the stock market, but I just never knew what I wanted to do. And during that time off, came across Matt's, video on options, and it was quite intriguing because I didn't even know what an option was in 2020. And the first video I ever came across was he was teaching credit spreads. And when I watched the video, it just made sense to me because, I understood that as long as it close below a certain strike, you would win if you're doing a call credit spread. If you're doing a put credit spread, you needed to close above it by a certain expiration date. So that part was very clear to me. And then I took that knowledge and started to do a little research on technical trading on supply and demand. And that's what I do now. I'm more of a supply and demand trader. I like to trade technical levels. And started running with that. I only had a small account. I knew I could only trade small because, with you being laid off and a tiny severance package they give you, you needed to make that stretch as far as you can. And so I ended up learning spreads was the first thing I did for the first full year of trading. And during that journey, I just was trying to figure out ways how to capitalize it. One way was I started really researching how to compound your money. And that's the thing I think a lot of, people in general they miss out on the power of compounding. Compounding is so powerful. And then from there, I just took a strategy of how could I compound as quickly as I could. And so doing credit spreads, I would look to do a short-term expiration dates to try to take advantage of theta decay. And so I would look for 10% wins. And 10% wins would quickly start compounding. So next, if you're doing one contract now. Next thing you know, you're up doing two contracts, then you're doing three contracts, and so I just kind of built from there. And like what Matt said earlier, I was going from a couple $10 here, then I built up to $100 a week. Then next thing you know, $100 a week was doing $500 a week, and then it's going to $1,000 a week, and so forth. And so built it from there. Then I finally realized it was time to invest in myself when I had the little bit of extra cash to do so. And so I joined Matt's Discord. And from there, I was able to tweak the strategy that I was already doing to further my wins because I realized there were some opportunities I was leaving, extra money on the table and did not realize that. And so I was able to do that. Stayed with Matt then for a year in Discord, and then when he offered a coachings program to go to the next level, I decided to invest in myself again and was able to start learning about swing trading, doing your leaps, doing the wheel strategy, and fell in love with the wheel strategy. That took a lot of extra stress out and everything. So I started combining wheel strategy, spreads, and then built my portfolio and up, started mingling in leaps. And you just fast forward to today and was able to go ahead and go full time. Haven't looked back since. Love every minute of it. And meanwhile, I'm just very blessed that he's allows me to be a part of his family and get to help other students ask questions, during the journey like I had. Because when I first started, I didn't have a lot of people I could ask for help or do anything until, I joined this community. And so I enjoyed kind of giving back to the group and, and be able to help others, take the leap of faith as well. But I apologize, my voice is getting raspy or not. We had a Texas meetup and doing a lot of talking and stuff, so I'm starting to lose my voice. So sorry about all that, but
Sorry, Daniel.
you're good, man.
What's up? Where are we at? Do you want a different slide to talk about, or do you want to go through?
Yeah, it's whatever. I just kind of told them my from layoff to building back up and letting them know now I'm full time, get to be a part of your team and getting to help other people try to reach their goals as well as where I left off at.
Of it. So for the small account people that kind of want to get started, what's the right mindset to have, when you're approaching your small account?
Well, a small account is you don't want to go in too big, because if you go in too big, it just takes one or two good losses and you can blow up your account. So you definitely want to have a mindset of proper money management is for one. And then two, like I said earlier, just figure out the risk strategy that you can afford to do your risk, and then just start small and build from there because, compounding really is really powerful. I mean, that's how I started it was compounding, just starting with 10% increment wins and you build from there. And as you're building from there, next thing you're going from one contract to three contracts. The next thing you know, it's five contracts, then 10 contracts. And just by just taking it slow and steady, make sure you have it, fully confident and you have it memorized before you go to the next level. Just take one strategy and just break it down. Make sure you trade on good quality companies, nothing that's too terrible and risky, in my opinion, especially if you have a small account, so you can understand the movement. And then try to just be very patient. Patient was a lot of key. Don't feel like you have to force a play every single day because sometimes, a no trade is the right trade. And you just be patient. And if you're patient for every play set up, you'll find more success and wins. Because if you miss a play, there's always going to be the next one. There's always going to be another play. You just got to learn to sit on your hands during that time if you have to.
And what was that? I guess you can talk about like Texas a little bit. What was it like being in the group with people? Like these events just are a different type of vibe. Like, do you want to explain like the kind of community that we have here and the people that kind of come together too?
Yeah, absolutely. The events they're amazing in my opinion. The Discord itself is great. It's a wonderful community, but there's such a something about being in person where you actually get to see the face of the Discord person, whatever name they have, because some of the Discord names don't match their actual names, so it's always a mystery. Uh, but when you finally get to meet the actual person and get to shake their hand or hug their neck, it's just totally different. It's just really like in a big extended family, and it's just like all of a sudden you're just having a family reunion. You just get to reunite with each other again, and then once you start building more relationships with us, certain individuals, and you get to keep having that meetup, it just kind of gets more and more special. And yeah, the meetups are the greatest in my opinion. I get more out of it each time, because you get to learn the emotional roller coasters for the individuals, what they're going through, and be able to help them out, or they'll help you out sometimes. And it's just, you get to be at ground level with people and just be real. So yeah, if you get an opportunity to come to the meetups, it's a lot, it hits differently. So for sure.
Yeah, we've been doing them for like almost 2 years, I think. So I think the crazy thing is people that win the awards, hit their
Mhm.
goals, like they're coming back the next year still doing this. And you've been doing this for years too, which is a testament to the consistency and how much this can work. But I mean, the crazy thing is just seeing people also graduate themselves and
Mhm.
be more successful the next time they come out, like Jason, who I know last year I just started getting into this, and this year he's teaching and sharing and seeing the people grow that show up. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason was awesome. So for the ones that got to come to Texas and meet Jason in person, it was amazing. His testimony is good. It just helps me reflect back, my journey for over 5 years ago, and then for him to come back and spread his testimony for other folks. So, it's just amazing showing that, average people, everyday people, you can reach those goals if you just work hard, you just put the time into it and then just grind it out. So,
Yeah, and
thank you, Jason, if you're still on for coming.
you're like actually at this point, uh, oops, you're basically connecting on a daily basis with students and helping them grow. So then you're seeing them in person. It's like
Mhm.
full circle. You're someone who's at this point like like a celebrity to them too. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, but a celebrity, but
Well, I guess we could talk through, I guess, some stories because I mean, you have been going through some stuff to level you up over time. Like, I remember this SMCI setup. I don't know what we exactly talked about. Let me pull up the screenshot. SMCI, you had calls
Mhm. I had a
and we
pull and a
played
put.
puts. We played both.
I did play both.
I don't remember what I was saying with this stock, but at that time, like you were having your consistency
Hmm
full time, and then you were wondering where to level up to next. And
hmm
that's when we started adding on leaps, just slightly talking about, here's what to do, here's what to focus on. And you hit like two 10K trades, which was like wild because it looks like your 65K year was prior, and then you're basically making double the income in a month one
hmm
with one trade, which is nuts. So do you remember the exact entry points and kind of what
I
we were
think
looking for?
I think it was back in March, and what we were looking for, you were
Oh, this top.
yeah, you were talking about looking for sweeps and stuff, and so I caught
Oh yeah, we
the
had
bull sweep
plenty.
going up, and then I caught a reversal sweep coming back down.
So you played the put and the call with leaps.
I did, yeah, yeah. The call I played. I remember playing the call because I remember
Oh, it might have
going
been.
at first.
I can't remember the exact days for all this stuff. This was closed on March 13th for the call. Oh yeah, it must have been like some
Yeah, because
wild bottom.
it was just I mean, the call was not even like a week old, so it was like a very quick play in and out
I can't
within a
remember the
week.
entry, but yeah, we were working with sweeps and then
hmm
leaps.
hmm
And then we started to go play the put side with the other scenarios here for these sweeps.
Correct.
And then you had another 10K win off
hmm
that. Yeah, and so what was the approach like mentally? When did you feel like you're ready to like buy the leaps and take those bets?
Um, Mentally, whenever I was very consistently winning off the wheel strategy and built up, enough wins and you get that confident level. So, there's a psychology side of it. I built up enough wins. I was ready to go to the next level. And then when you were teaching, that next level, and when I was seeing a structure that you were doing, and then I had full conviction that it was supporting as I'm finding on a higher time frame, and then I would go down to a lower time frame to get more candlestick confirmations. And when would see that, then that's when I decided to go ahead and start leveling up and started entering contracts and kind of pushing myself a little bit outside of my box, my comfort zone, because I knew that I was doing well where I was at, but if I couldn't push myself to that next spot, then I would just be stagnant, I'll be sitting still just right where I was at. And so when it was time to go to the next one, it's kind of helped me get myself out of my comfort zone instead of my doing my little onesie twosie contract leaps. That's where I thought, okay, I'm going to go a little bit bigger and spend more because everything you were teaching us during that time, it was literally lining up an A+ setup right in front of my face. And so
Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta test his theory out. And so when I did, and it moved quickly too. And that's the funny part is it moves so quickly.
yeah,
Um,
that was a crazy move. And you with these were the trades that you bought your dad's truck debt down. You paid your dad's truck off.
no, not with SMCI. It was a different play. I did a big CSP play towards the end of the year because I wanted to, give back and bless my dad for, being there for me all my life. And so one of the things I wanted to do was just pay off his car. So it's one of those things where I just was looking for a setup and found a really nice CSP opportunity, and I went in really big and heavy on it,
Nice.
and it expired worthless. So I took that cash and and my dad's the kind of guy that, you can always ask him, what does he need? Can I get you anything? And he's like, nope, 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 but yet he'll give the shirt off his back. He's always a giver, but a receiver, it's just a little always harder. So I decided to take action in my own hands and I got into a big play for him. And And the way I did it, I secretly went up to his bank and banker and talked to his lady. I go, "Hey, I need you to deposit this money into his account," because he would reject it from me. So I did that to him and got him a Christmas card and put that little deposit slip in his Christmas card and gave it to him. Uh, and asked him, I said, "Hey, I said, if you had no car payment, would that help change your life? Because I remember, some of the things that you taught, well, if you were able to make this, would it change your life?" I remember answering the same similar questions you asked me. And so I asked the same similar questions to him. Hey, if you had this one less debt, would it help you in life? And, he asked me, he goes, yeah, he didn't understand why. And so I handed him the Christmas card and let him know that he had the money in his account that he needed the next day to go pay off his car. But I also did that too, because I believe that, when you bless others, they're going to come back on you as well. And so one of my goals too in life was like, hey, I want to pay off my truck someday. And so, I just was convicted that, hey, I want to plant this seed, this positive seed in someone else's life. So maybe someday it'll come back with me. And sure enough, fast forward 6 months later, that's when I called you and I said, hey, I want to pay off my truck now. And you and I came up with a game plan of Pepsi and Ethereum leaps. And they both ran at the same time within like, I don't know, what about a month and a half or something. They took off and ran. And as soon as it reached the dollar amount I needed, I didn't care if it was going to keep going or not. I went ahead and closed it, took that money and paid my truck off. And so it's kind of neat to be able to do that 6 months later. So
Yeah, this picture here, the Ethereum and Pepsi leaps,
yeah.
like 40 grand.
Mhm.
Yeah, so paying off your truck and then your dad's
Mhm.
truck
Yep.
from the
Yep.
trades. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
epic. But like obviously it takes a lot longer to do that with the wheels. So
Yeah. Yeah, it
you
does.
you take calculated bets with bleeps, and
Mhm.
that's where you take and jump levels in life, jump debt
Mhm.
levels, jump income, improve your quality of, who knows, vacation. Or
Oh yeah.
so that's the last levels of obviously the stuff we do. um and what's your opinion on like when to time that stuff, how often to do it, how much capital to like risk?
Yeah.
How do you kind of think beginners should go about that?
Well, the way that I've done it, and I talked about it a little bit in the Texas group over the weekend. I just kind of gave them a blueprint because I know everybody's trading account and risk tolerance is going to be different. So it's just a blueprint, kind of give you an idea and you tweak it. But thinking humble beginnings is, if you're new, is the wheel strategy is one of the safest and ways to go. And even to this very day, 80 to 85% of my portfolio is the wheel strategy. I'm sitting there because I like, collecting base hits and just keep knocking base ins, be very consistently, keep developing those wins and develop those cushions. And when you start building up that extra buying power and cushions, you're just patiently waiting for the key companies that has that A plus setup. When you get that candle sweep opportunity, and when you see it, you've already built up enough cash deployed to challenge and go to a leap, position. And
Kind of like
then
what
that's
Adam said.
Mhm.
You got to have like the capital to risk first.
You do, and that's why I encourage, if CSPs for me was the way to go, and I just needed to build up consistency. And as I was building up consistency, I was able to um, build up those wins and have the extra cash on the side. And then so the extra cash on the side is, I kind of leave it for my so-called shiny object plays. And, that classifies under my leaps and spreads or whatever opportunity that's there. But my main focus is the wheel strategy because that's what gives me the most consistency wins and compounding from right there.
Yeah, I love it. Any questions you guys have for Daniel, just drop them in the chat. We will check with the chat here in a second. Let me just grab something at my door. Okay. Favorite tickers, Daniel. What's your go-tos?
Favorite tickers. I kind of rotate them, I think. I don't know if I have a specific favorite at the moment. All last year, my big favorite ones were TSLL and Soxel were probably my two big ones. I'm not a couple of home runs off them. This year, it's been a kind of a good variety mixed. I like to try to start catching quality or big enough companies that are still kind of beaten down and catch that rotation. So this year, I'm kind of slowly been starting positions in Palantir this year, doing CSPs. I completed a CSP strategy on Friday, expired worthless, so I'm recharting, looking for another entry again. I'm liking rotating over to TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, but I'm doing the ETF of TSMG.
You like that?
Yeah, I got a play going on right there.
Yeah, you don't put too much capital in any one ticker,
Yeah, I like to kind of
which is
diverse it
important.
out because I know everything kind of they move, each one can move differently at quick times. So I kind of diversify it a little bit and just kind of like to find that good rotation.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Let's see what other questions we got. Should be it. What's the next big goal, Daniel? What are you hoping to achieve with your growth and your trading and I guess life?
Yeah, my next big one is when we were able to buy our new house, I kept my old house still. So my next goal is just to kind of finish paying that off and start pulling it's a rental house now, but start pulling like lines of equity off of it and start rotating into other real estates and start developing some Airbnb opportunities.
Sick,
And
man.
then kind of develop a lesson plan, helping people kind of to, playing the real estate by pulling your equity and you can use that as your investment account, playing your CSPs to whatever. So I've been kind of building some of that. And I want to kind of start building a bigger real estate portfolio than what I have. And then if any other business opportunities comes up, invest in. I was able to do that last summer. Got a small sign company I got to invest in with a guy. And so, yeah, just
Big
kind of get
money.
diverse out. Just goals to get about five different streams minimum of income always coming in.
Your
And
coffee
yeah,
company.
I'm trying to get that going a little bit with partners with coffee. And then if everything goes well, I get to go fly out to the farm in Colombia, hopefully in October. But we'll
Ooh,
see how things go.
nice.
Get to meet the rest of the family there. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. Just trying to, do everything in stages as it presents itself.
Yeah, this is pretty similar to
Mhm.
the path we laid out in the past. You do puts,
Mhm.
you do the wheel, you do leaps, and then
Mhm.
you create an income from other things,
Mhm.
businesses, real estate.
Yeah.
So Daniel is tackling pretty much everything to the T, like how mechanical and methodical he always is. It's awesome. And yeah, we teach the real estate aspect sometimes because it is a great tax
Mhm.
advantage for lowering your income from option selling and lower the tax you need to pay for that. So that's sick. And getting some rentals is a really great strategy long term, so that you don't have to force things in the market all the time. It's a great one. All right, brother. I will wrap this up and let you rest up.
Yeah,
Seems
no
like you might
worries.
need some vitamin C.
Right. I'm just gonna get my voice back now.
Yeah, you're a trooper, man. Thanks for everything you do for us, and thanks for coming on today too.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
See you,
Peace,
sir.
peace.
Yeah.
All right, fam. I'm gonna wrap this up. This will be the freebie here. We're gonna drop the bonus for staying on. If you're not a student, you're gonna have a cool thing we're gonna give out today. Again, the whole goal of this stream was to celebrate a system that's changed lives, a system that has been on a 1 year win streak, And at this point, hopefully you guys are excited to start selling puts. Hopefully you've realized that this is the right approach versus all the other garbage on the internet. And hopefully you also see that there are levels to this that can unlock some huge life opportunities with paying off debt like Jeremy, paying off car debt like Daniel. Everybody has leveled up through the system to other things too, but it's always starting off with obviously the most boring base hit stuff, like we teach. So it's got to be doing the wheel, and then it's got to be the leaps later. So take your time, enjoy graduating through strategies, and try not to force the wrong strategy at the wrong time when you're not ready for it. I'm not sure I have like a good slide for a graduation approach yet, but oh, here it is. Yeah. So this is a milestone for our company, for our base of students, the accomplishments we've seen. Jeremy's that's going to choke me up for a while. So just amazing to mark this and celebrate it with everybody. So thank you for joining us here today. We will be offering you guys something special. So if you have the keys to the system today for free, that's the goal. I'm going to give you guys just a sneak peek of what we offer, get you in, get you using it, and you don't have to put anything down. No credit card, no money, no anything. This is the only time I'm ever going to give you guys a sneak peek if you're new. So comment new in the chat. Make sure I know all the new students who have never sold a put with us, have never been a student. Comment the word new, please. And I'll drop kind of the instructions to get this. So what we're going to do is help you guys just unlock the software. That's it. So the software is going to be something you can have for a little period of time. Just like this section here, you'll also see our trades. You'll also see all of the best stocks to sell puts on. You'll see the analysis of how to even pick these puts. You'll have a portfolio that will help you analyze your results, your trades. It'll help you coach you. As you can see here, my portfolio gives me a CSP health report, so I can see how I'm selling puts, how I'm doing with the system, and they can see all the trades I have open, all the risk levels associated with them, kind of the maneuvers I should be doing at this point. So this is the number one way to just kind of follow us, learn it. And this is also going to come with obviously the education too. You're going to have the course. You're going to have all the lessons unlocked for this window here. And you're going to be able to chat with the AI coach, the Guac coach. So the goal is to celebrate this moment in our company's time and just give super ridiculous value to people who are just curious. And if you have anybody in your life that you think could benefit from this, please send Ben the link too. Please send it to 3 people that you think would want a free trial, would want to have the trades and all that stuff. So again, you're going to get the trades for this little short window of time. You're going to see how we're on this win streak. You're going to follow the trades. You're going to have the course to actually understand the frameworks. And it's not going to cost you $1. All we're going to do is give you guys a short trial here. So what's going to happen is you're going to go to this site called the Guac Tracker, guactracker.com, and this is going to unlock the trial here. So all we're going to do is ask you a couple questions. We're going to vet some people that might be great students with these questions. We're going to vet people that might not be, and some people that are. We'll give you guys a call. We'll see if you want to join us after the trial. If you're not ready yet, we'll put you in the back of the system, reach out to you in like a year from now and see if maybe option selling is the right approach then. But at least today, get the trades, get the education, start putting yourself in a position to learn and grow. So you're going to go through all these questions here. You're going to answer the questions. And then at the end of the trial question thingy, we're just going to ask you guys if you want to talk to the team. For some qualified people, you do have the option to talk to our team. And if you do talk to the team, this week, book a call. If you're interested in being a student, we'll give you an extra month in the program, only if you book with the link from the software. So be sure to grab this link, right? You can also take a screenshot here. Be sure to grab it. Be sure to grab the trial. I'm hoping there's no issues getting access. I'm hoping it's smooth, but this is the only time I'm ever going to do a trial. So right now I have, looks like 10 people came through the trial. Take your time, grab it with the link, and this should unlock the full software. So looks like everything's running smoothly. Looks like everything's coming through our end so that we have you guys in the back end here for access. Any questions, please reach out. I'm going to hang out here for the last 20 minutes answering Q&A and just kind of wrapping things up. So again, you are going to be able to unlock this just for 7 days. 7 days, boom, grab the software. This would give you pretty much access to everything minus Discord chat. So you'll also get some of the, I think the live streams, I believe, get texted out if you turn on the text alerts. Any questions, guys and gals? Cool. I'll share some stuff. I'll give you guys some time to kind of go through this, grab your trial, and then we will pop out for the day. Send this again. The only thing I would ask is if you are a student, this is free. Send this to your kids, your uncles, anybody you think that has capital, needs to move their money better. I think this is a great way to help them learn a skill without any capital risk, just to get their feet in the door of a great strategy. So not many strategies on the internet can do what we did and change the lives we have. So feel free to send this to someone you think needs their lives changed. I'm going to again drop the link in the chat. You can send them the link. You can take the QR code, send them the link from that. I will also, I think I need to put this in the video section too. I'll put this in the video description at the end of this when the recording's open. Oh, I'm an old man. I'm not sure how to do that right now. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right, I'll give you the same speech I gave my the students on a call like a couple days ago, I guess a couple weeks ago. Basically, I hit my first 250K month, and really interesting because I was able to be late, just like Adam said. Adam was late to this market rally. I was on vacation. Somehow I always go on vacation, the market's bottom, and I get back home and I'm chasing. So what happened was on April 12th, right here, I get back home, basically get to reset, check the markets out, and I get in my aggressive strategies for the first time. So I missed this whole rally, and everybody's thinking I'm late. Everyone's thinking the markets are going to pull back. Like everyone is very bearish at this point, but I've learned to just put the gas down when you have momentum. So my goal was to spend 30 days just putting the gas down. Like Adam said, you got to make hay. You got to make hay when you can. And this is what happened. 250K. I had 360K trades. I had some losers, like a lot of losers. I'm really aggressive with capital. I think I rotate out of losers quicker than most people. I think that's one thing I'm trying to teach our students is how to rotate losers faster. I probably hit 6 losing trades this stretch here. Just boom. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to move capital. And the point of this story is you can be late to a market rally and have your best month ever. The point of this story is I was just like everybody here who struggled for a year, 2, 3 years. I was just like everyone here. I spent years climbing up the day trading ladder, just struggling greatly, going up 10 rings, coming back down a couple, sometimes just completely falling on my butt, and just trying to keep climbing up these high aggression strategy ladders. You get high enough, but then it never lasts and you fall down. I'm just like you guys. I had to basically restart option selling, forget everything I knew, forget indicators, forget tickers, forget the news, people, what they're saying on the news. Literally had to forget that stuff, restart. And what happened is from that moment of selling the put, this is the system I still use. It took me, I think, a couple months, I think 8 months, and I morphed this to a high IV option selling system. I had my first six-figure a year. Six figures was out of the realm of possibility in my mind, just given how little capital I had as a human being after college. But that was the first domino that just kept clicking off more and more amazing wins. Yeah, obviously, like I said, the win of building your dream home, retiring your wife, giving her the option not to work, having the free time with your kids during the day, like option selling hit the dominoes. But I spent the years failing that you guys don't need to. I don't think you need to spend as long as I did. And I certainly don't think you need to fail option selling as long as I did. I think option selling still sucks if you do it wrong, right? It's not a strategy you can do without my system at the rate we're doing it. 5% a month with 100% win rate over the last years is unbelievable. It's not something you can just figure out on your own still. So that's why I'm trying to kickstart this for you guys, give you this 7-day trial. Super important that you just get going, get learning, pick up a couple key things that we do, and that way you can just start winning. So the key here, everyone, is that um, you know the $500 put I sold started the winning mindset, the winning consistency stretch. And this led to even a $90,000 day trade, right? I don't like day trading. I don't do it very often, but if there's time to make hay, you make hay, right? So love that. I'm going to use that all the time. And that happens with leaps, and that's how Daniel paid off his car debt. Like you got to make hay when there's that opportunity, but you got to start off hitting your first $500 on Spotify. You got to start off hitting a 10K month, a 10K day, 100K month, 100K day. Like you got to click off milestones. Like Ty will relate to this, but our running coach used to say to me, you can't be a 405 miler unless you're a 407 miler. And she said, you can't be a 403 miler unless you're a 405 miler. And you can't be a 401 miler unless you're a 402 miler. Like you gotta click the basics off. She would hammer me about that. So again, grab the link, fill it out. You will be offered a chance to get a free month of bonus access if you want to book a call with our team. Our calendars are wide open. This is the only way to get the free month is to book through this link that appears after the questions. If you don't see the booking link, you are not an ideal student today. Don't be worried. We will reach out to you a couple months from now, and this might be a better fit later, but we just want to make sure we bring on people who can succeed. So any questions, anybody? Do we have anything before I pop off here? All right, grab the trial. This is like the only way to get a free trial for what we do. The only way. And we're going to kind of gate this page in a couple days. So you can't even get a free trial ever again at Market Moves. So this is the last time you'll see this. Send it to your friends, your family, people you love, people you want to see succeed, people that just need a kick in the butt need to learn something that actually works instead of spinning their wheels. People that should be growing their income faster than a financial advisor could. You know, people that want to create income versus long-term invest and just sit there waiting. If you know anybody that you want to see crushing it in life, send this link to them. We don't have any bonuses for that other than you helping them have a possible chance to be in a boat to change your life or their life, like a lot of the people you saw today. So who knows? It might marinate for a week for them. It might appear in a year that they start option selling, and who knows, they pay off your debt because you told them about it, or they're able to buy their first house as an early graduate post college. This is stuff that can really jump your financials if you do it correctly and you're patient. All right, fam bam. I'm gonna pop off. Any last questions? Appreciate you guys. Questions in the chat. Credit spreads. It's not really part of the system. Yeah, we really focus on CSPs. I wish we had a plan to make spreads great, but spreads are like a window to learn this, but you got to jump out the window and go to CSPs. Yeah, you gotta graduate. You can't stay in the spread world forever. So call up your mom, call up your boss, get some more money. After you start making money in your account, quickly transition. The longer you stay in spreads, the worse you're going to be for consistency, just because it takes misexecution, it takes a bad market turn, and then you're almost blowing up your account. And I never like to do things that go to zero with the whole account. I like to be in trades that I can never take a loss on, right? A CSP can avoid a loss for eternity. And if you don't believe me, look at the TQQQ. You tell me, if you sell a put on the TQQ, how do you lose money? How do you ever lose money? Right? Jeremy can sleep at night selling puts on the TQQ. Jeremy doesn't even worry about getting assigned. Like, I mean, just look at the chart. You're theoretically not losing money. So it would take not just black swan events, but like it would take the world completely getting wrecked. Unemployment, all these metrics getting out of whack. It takes something substantial to ruin a tech ETF. And thinking about AI, robotics, autonomous this, autonomous that, like, why would you ever bet against tech and try to prepare yourself for the 1% chance, the 0.001% chance this goes to zero? Like, it's a waste of mental capital, which is the most important capital. So how many months have you missed out on a substantial returns? You've missed out on 200 months, 5,096 days. Like, you don't even have to think. This is just a put strategy on a great index fund that's tech based. So don't make it too complex. That's all it is here. It's one, and this is just one ticker. You don't even have to make it even wilder than this. Just focus on this one ticker. All right, fam. So far, we got 40 people on the trial. Hopefully the software works. Hopefully things are cooking. Our team will reach out. If it's not, just check and make sure it works. Try to use a password reset if you want to get in. And I will see you guys on our next live stream. If you're in the group, I'll see you on the next YouTube video if you're a subscriber. Peace, everybody. Have a